Chapter 633. In The Emperor's Sky, Sword Spirit has refined my blood essence. Not long after Yi Qianfeng dripped his blood essence, he realized that the severely injured Sword Spirit had forcefully refined his blood essence and did not give him the chance to recognize him as the owner. I want to see how much of my blood essence you can refine. After the blood essence was refined, Yi Qianfeng controlled the vermilion bird cauldron to increase the suppression while he continued to drip his blood essence and forcefully made the four sword spirits of great ominous swords recognize him as the owner. The sword spirit was severely injured and was being suppressed by the vermilion bird cauldron. It was very strenuous for it to refine Yi Qianfeng's blood essence. Slowly, Yi Qianfeng's blood essence seeped into the sword spirit, and the sword spirit's resistance became weaker and weaker. Finally, it fused with Yi Qianfeng's blood essence. Emperor Sky's sword spirit fuse. After forcefully making the Emperor Sky sword spirit recognize him as the owner, Yi Qianfeng immediately controlled the sword spirit to fuse with the Emperor Sky sword. Buzz, buzz, buzz. Ear-piercing sword cries echoed. When the sword spirit fused with the Emperor Sky sword, the Emperor Sky sword immediately changed. The offensive array patterns on the sword were constantly being repaired and increasing the attacking power of the Emperor Sky sword. After about 5 minutes, the Emperor Heaven sword and the sword spirit had completely fused together. The 3,680 offensive array patterns had been completely restored, and the Emperor Heaven sword was restored to the middle grade Dao artifact level. The 3 stances of the Emperor Heaven sword art and the Emperor Heaven sword were also completed. It has been restored. The Emperor Sky sword has finally been restored to the intermediate Dao artifact level. Feeling that the Emperor Sky sword's quality had improved, Yi Qianfeng revealed a trace of a smile. Although he was unable to unleash the full power of the Emperor Sky sword with his current strength, with the sword spirit's amplification and the power of the Emperor Sky sword itself, he was able to kill a rank 2 combat beast emperor. Sword spirit, come out quickly. I have something to ask you. The sword spirit had been suppressed in the 4th sacred palace for more than 100,000 years and knew a lot of secrets of the past. Yi Qianfeng kept the 4 sword of great ominous swords into the universal mirror and summoned the extremely weak sword spirit out. Master, what do you want to ask me? The sword spirit could not resist Yi Qianfeng's will after the blood recognition. It floated out of the Emperor's Sky sword and asked indifferently, "Tell me, who is that demon? And who sealed him here?" Yi Qianfeng asked in a low voice about the secrets of the Dragon Abyss. "You're not with that demon?" The sword spirit asked doubtfully. "I'm not on the same side as him. The demonic body I released to suppress him does indeed possess the power to destroy him." Yi Qianfeng shook his head and said, "All right, I'll tell you who that demon is. That demon comes from the heaven region and calls himself Demon Saint Cold Night. He's a 3-star Dao Saint. When he descended to the lower realms, he stirred up a storm of blood in the soul-fighting continent. He destroyed many sacred grounds and killed many geniuses. In the end, his bloody atrocities infuriated the old master, and he fought with him. However, Devil Sage Cold Night was too terrifying. Even with Master's strength back then, he was unable to kill him. He had no choice but to sacrifice his contracted beast, the Azure Dragon. He borrowed the Azure Dragon's body to refine the Emperor's Celestial Sword for his entire life, severely injuring Devil Sage Cold Night. He suppressed his body and his contracted beast, the Dark Black Mantis, in this place of 2 extremes of life and death. The sword spirit told Yi Qianfeng everything he knew about the devil. 3-star Dao Saint. Yi Qianfeng knew that Dao Saints were in the heaven domain realm. Although Dao Saints weren't strong in the heaven region, they could dominate the soul-fighting continent. Sword spirit, how strong was your master back then? Yi Qianfeng asked softly. He really wanted to know Di Tian's strength. Old Master Di Tian was the old deity emperor of the 9 heavens divine nation. He was one of the mainstays and was in the nirvana heavenly realm. More than 100,000 years have passed. I wonder if Old Master has recovered from his injuries and torn open the heaven region gate to ascend to the heaven region. The sword spirit said with a sigh. Nirvana, heavenly realm? What realm is that? After fusing with the God-Eater brain, Yi Qinfeng had a lot of inherited memories. However, this was the first time he heard of the Nirvana, heavenly realm. The Nirvana, heavenly realm isn't a true cultivation realm. It's a realm that a level 6 combat beast emperor failed to ascend to the heaven region. After his physical body was destroyed by the heaven region gate, he spent a lot of resources and borrowed the power of heaven's punishment to recultivate. The Nirvana, heavenly realm is divided into Nirvana. The Nirvana, heavenly realm corresponds to the 1-star Tao Saint, 2-star Tao Saint, and 3-star Tao Saint. However, it's extremely difficult to cultivate to the Nirvana, heavenly realm. Not only do you need to gather a lot of rare treasures, you also need 1,000 years to transform and complete the Nirvana. Nirvana, heavenly realm experts will be baptized by the Nirvana, heavenly punishment every 1,000 years. Only by overcoming it can they extend their lives. However, in history, there were too many almighty experts that were annihilated by the Nirvana, heavenly punishment. It's even more difficult for a Nirvana, heavenly realm expert to tear open the heaven region gate again. In history, there were only a few Nirvana, heavenly realm experts that managed to ascend to the heaven region. However, once a Nirvana, heavenly realm expert ascends to the heaven region, his strength would far surpass an ordinary ascender, and he would directly break through to the 4-star Tao Saint. The sword spirit explained in detail. There's such a realm in the Duohan continent. It seems like my understanding of the Duohan continent is still too little. Yi Qinfeng muttered to himself. He didn't expect that a level 6 combat beast emperor wasn't invincible in the Duohan continent. The true overlords of the Duohan continent were the Nirvana, heavenly realm experts. Master, even the old master couldn't kill Devil Saint Cold Knight when he was in the Nirvana, heavenly realm. He could only suppress him. Are you sure you can destroy him? Once he escapes completely, there will be a bloodbath in the Duohan continent. Master, you will be condemned by history. The sword spirit reminded solemnly. Sword spirit, the 4th divine palace should be suppressing the devil's skull, right? Yi Qinfeng pondered for a moment and asked, I wonder what kind of treasure Senior D. Tian used to suppress the devil's skull. Are there any heaven crystals? The 4th divine palace doesn't only suppress the devil's skull. It also suppresses the Devil Saint Cold Knight's origin Tao spirit. In order to suppress them, Master moved a dragon blood tree, a soul-suppressing golden tablet, and set up a sealing array using the heart of the green dragon, 18 medium heaven crystals, and 36 low heaven crystals. The sword spirit didn't hide anything. 18 medium heaven crystals and 36 low heaven crystals. Yi Qinfeng's eyes lit up. If the sword puppet fused with these heaven crystals, its strength would definitely surpass the Battle Beast Emperor and reach the heavenly domain Tao Saint realm. It would definitely have a chance to destroy the Devil Skull and his Tao spirit. At that time, the Devil body would be nothing to be afraid of. Even if there was an accident at the last moment and the Devil Skull and Tao spirit escaped, Devil Saint Cold Knight, who had been suppressed for more than 100,000 years, wouldn't be able to recover to his peak state after losing his devil heart. The sword puppet would also have a chance to kill him. More importantly, Yi Qinfeng was very interested in the dragon blood tree and dragon heart that suppressed the devil skull and Tao spirit. If he could obtain these 2 treasures, his strength would increase greatly, especially the dragon heart. If he could refine it, it would definitely allow him to undergo an earth-shattering transformation. Sword spirit, seal the front hall. Then we will go and kill the devil skull and his Tao spirit. Yi Qinfeng took a deep breath and ordered, Master, have you really thought it through? The sword spirit asked. Yes. Yi Qinfeng nodded heavily and said with a firm tone, AI, all right then, let's fight to the death. The sword spirit couldn't resist Yi Qinfeng's thoughts and could only obediently follow his orders. It activated the hidden restriction in the shrine and forcefully sealed the shrine. Then, it brought Yi Qinfeng through the restriction of the shrine and entered the depths of the shrine, where the devil's skull and Tao spirit were suppressed. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, You can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You'll be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 634. After passing through the long and narrow corridor, Yi Qianfeng saw two stone doors that were engraved with dense ancient runes and gave off an ancient aura. 1. Master, the ultimate palace hall is in front. Devil Saint Cold Knight's head and Tao spirit are suppressed in the stone coffin in the ultimate palace hall. At this moment, the Detian sword spirit's voice rang out in Yi Qianfeng's mind. Come, let's go in. Yi Qianfeng knew that after entering the ultimate palace hall, he would once again experience a test of life and death. If he was not careful, he would be consigned to eternal damnation. However, he did not back down. He burst out with 5 million kilograms of strength and forcefully tore apart the ancient runes restrictions on the stone doors. He pushed open the stone doors and walked into the ultimate palace hall that had been sealed for more than 100,000 years. What a powerful qi and blood power. This is the dragon blood tree. Yi Qianfeng held onto the moonlight stone and walked into the ultimate palace hall. He immediately saw the dragon blood tree that was more than 10 meters tall. The tree trunk was covered with vein-like patterns. The dragon blood tree was rooted in 2 square, black stone coffins that were engraved with multiplying ancient runes. The ground around the dragon blood tree was inlaid with 54 celestial crystals of various sizes, forming a terrifyingly powerful demon suppression formation. However, he did not see the most precious dragon heart. He guessed that Detian might have sealed the dragon heart in the stone coffin where Devil Saint Cold Knight's Tao spirit was and suppressed it. Sword spirit, do you know the location of the array core of this demon suppression array? I am going to break this demon suppression array and take away these 54 heaven crystals. 1 Kanshuk. Although the 54 heaven crystals had been consumed for more than 100,000 years and did not contain half of the energy, they were still important to Yi Qianfeng. Once the sword puppet devoured them, his strength would immediately reach the level of a heaven domain Tao Saint. I do not know. This demon suppression array was personally set up by the old master. I do not understand this demon suppression array. Detian's sword spirit replied. All right, I will deduce it myself and find the array core. Yi Qianfeng did not blindly walk into the demon suppression array that was set up by the 54 heaven crystals. Instead, he sat cross-legged outside the array and controlled the God-Eater brain's power to seep into the demon suppression array and forcefully deduce the location of the array core. Buzz, buzz, buzz. When the God-Eater brain forcefully deduced the demon suppression array, the heaven crystal suddenly lit up. The blinding light was so bright that one could not open their eyes. Master, quickly stop. If you don't stop, your soul will probably be torn apart and destroyed by the soul-suppressing power formed by the 54 heaven crystals. Sensing the soul-suppressing power that was suddenly formed in the soul-suppressing array, the Detian sword spirit sensed danger and urged anxiously. However, Yi Qianfeng turned a deaf ear to Detian's sword spirit's warning. He continued to control the God-Eater brain and tried his best to weaken the soul-suppressing array's prowess to create an opportunity for the sword spirit puppet to devour. Buzz! 1 Kanshuk God-Eater soul. Defense at this critical moment, the God-Eater brain appeared in Yi Qianfeng's mind. It formed a large amount of devouring power and directly devoured the soul-suppressing white light. Yeah, I'm fine. When the Detian sword spirit saw that Yi Qianfeng had taken the attack of the soul-suppressing light head-on, and that he was fine apart from blood flowing out of his 7 orifices, he revealed a look of disbelief. This was because even it didn't dare to face the soul-subduing light head-on. However, Yi Qianfeng, who was a 4th-level Defiant Beast King, was able to withstand the soul-subduing light. Yi Qianfeng took a deep breath and stabilized his restless soul. He continued to control the God-Eater brain to deduce the soul-suppressing array. At this time, the soul-suppressing grand array condensed another soul-suppressing light and attacked Yi Qianfeng. However, Yi Qianfeng had the God-Eater brain guarding his soul sea. No matter how the soul-suppressing Grand Array attacked, it couldn't injure or tear his soul apart. It's too terrifying. What exactly is in his head? He can actually ignore the attacks of the Great Soul Suppression Array. The Detion Sword Spirit was completely stunned by the scene in front of him. He realized that Yi Chunfeng was far stronger than he had imagined. For the first time, he had hoped that Yi Chunfeng would be able to kill Devil Saint Cold Knight. In the array core of this soul-suppressing Grand Array is that Dragon Blood Tree. While enduring the attacks of the soul-suppressing Grand Array, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater Brain to deduce for more than 2 hours. He finally deduced the truth. The array core of this soul-suppressing Grand Array, which was formed by 54 heaven crystals, was that Dragon Blood Tree that was suppressing the 2 black stone coffins. Sword Puppet, attack with me. After locking onto the array core, Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the Sword Puppet and ordered it to hold the Emperor Heaven's Sword and attack the soul-suppressing Grand Array with him. 7 Swords of Judgment, Heaven Crushing. The moment the Sword Puppet held the Emperor Heaven's Sword and became one with the sword, it slashed towards the soul-suppressing Grand Array. Yi Chunfeng was multitasking. On one hand, he held the Quasi-Dao artifact, Great Ominous Sword, and slashed out a heaven-crushing sword light that tore through space. On the other hand, he controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and the Scarlet Thunder Pearl to attack with all their might. Facing the all-out attacks of Yi Chunfeng and the Sword Puppet, the blinding light from the 54 heaven crystals became more and more intense as they defended with all their might. The Dragon Blood Tree at the array core also swayed and condensed a blood-red dragon shadow. It roared and attacked Yi Chunfeng, who was outside the array. Break! Before the blood-red dragon shadow attacked, the Sword Puppet used its body to block it while burning a large amount of energy from the heaven crystals. It held the Emperor Heaven's Sword and slashed out a world-shaking sword attack. Together with the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and the Scarlet Thunder Pearl, it forcefully tore a small gap in the soul-suppressing Grand Array. Primal Chaos Divine Wood, devour the Dragon Blood Tree. After the gap appeared in the soul-suppressing Grand Array, Yi Chunfeng decisively summoned the Primal Chaos Divine Wood and struck it out. It passed through the rapidly collapsing gap and quickly approached the Dragon Blood Tree. Sensing the Primal Chaos Divine Wood's approach, a large amount of destructive light appeared in the soul-suppressing Grand Array. It was like a meteor shower as it ferociously attacked the Primal Chaos Divine Wood, wanting to destroy it. However, the Primal Chaos Divine Wood was one of the strongest divine trees in the universe. The destructive power of the 54 heaven crystals was unable to destroy it. Enduring the attacks of the soul-suppressing Grand Array, the Primal Chaos Divine would pass through the gap that Yi Chunfeng and the Sword Puppet had forcefully torn open and flew above the Dragon Blood Tree. Following which, the Dragon Blood Tree shot out 5-colored divine light and condensed densely packed 5-colored roots that attacked the Dragon Blood Tree with irresistible force. After being attacked by the 5-colored roots, the Dragon Blood Tree immediately counterattacked. Numerous dragon shadows whizzed up and attacked the Primal Chaos Divine Wood. Although the Dragon Blood Tree was strong, it could not be compared to the Primal Chaos Divine Wood. The 2 divine trees fiercely fought for 5 minutes in the soul-suppressing Grand Array. The Primal Chaos Divine would gradually restrain the Dragon Blood Tree and suppressed its attacks. The densely packed 5-colored roots also penetrated the Dragon Blood Tree and crazily devoured the Dragon Blood Tree's spiritual power, weakening its strength. Under the Primal Chaos Divine Wood's frenzied devouring, the Dragon Blood Tree's lush tree crown started to wither. Large patches of withered branches and yellow leaves floated down. What is this? He actually has a spiritual item that can restrain the Dragon Blood Tree. Seeing that the Dragon Blood Tree, one of the best spiritual trees in the Duhan continent, was constantly withering and withering under the Primal Chaos Divine Wood's devouring, the Sword Spirit, who was using all his strength to strengthen the Emperor's Sky Sword, was shocked once again. Perhaps he can really eliminate Demon Sage Cold Knight. As more than half of the dragon blood tree's energy was drained, the soul-suppressing Gran Array's power also started to decrease. Yi Chunfeng and the sword puppet worked together and constantly tore open cracks in the soul-suppressing Gran Array. Finally, after the primal chaos divine would devour the dragon blood tree, it was fiercely attacked. The soul-suppressing Gran Array, which was full of cracks, was also destroyed. The 54 heaven crystals were completely exposed to Yi Chunfeng. Dear friends who want to read the latest chapters of this book, please come to the Yunlai Pavilion or visit me on your mobile phone. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this book. You'll be able to read it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blogs, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 635. Sword Puppet Devour. The soul-suppressing array had been broken, and Yi Chunfeng immediately ordered the sword puppet to rush towards the 54 sky crystals of different sizes embedded in the ground. It quickly devoured them into its body and increased its strength. One Kanshuk Chaos Divine would come. While the sword puppet was devouring the sky crystals, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Wood and fused it into his body. Boom! The Chaos Divine Wood took root in Yi Chunfeng's heart and immediately released a majestic energy that flowed through Yi Chunfeng's meridians and spread throughout his body. Chaos Divine Beast, Golden Clear Dragon Bloodline, protect me. Feeling the power of the dragon blood coursing through his body, Yi Chunfeng decisively summoned his two heavenly beasts, ordering them to stand guard for him. Sitting cross-legged in the middle of the ultimate palace hall, he quickly circulated the soul-devouring incantation, refining the dragon blood in his body and raising his own power. While Yi Chunfeng was trying his best to refine the dragon blood in his body, he was multitasking. He took out the dragon skull bone that he had just obtained and threw it into the vermilion bird cauldron to quickly refine the dragon bone essence. In order to destroy demon Saint Cold Knight, Yi Chunfeng was prepared to grab this rare opportunity to break through to the rank 5 Defiant Beast King realm and cultivate the first stage of the God Change 9 transformations, Spirit Body Change, to the perfection stage to increase his strength. Roar, roar, roar. Just as Yi Chunfeng was enduring the pain from the dragon blood and circulating the soul-devouring art to quickly refine it, a series of ferocious roars rang out from the two square stone coffins. Roar! The terrifying sound reverberated through the 9 heavens, causing Yi Chunfeng's eardrums to throb painfully. The dragon blood tree had been devoured by the chaos divine wood, and the soul-suppressing array had been broken. The demon skull and Tao spirit, who had developed intelligence, immediately sensed it and started to attack the stone coffins in an attempt to break free. At this moment, a golden soul-suppressing tablet that was more than 100 feet tall fell from the top of the black hall and landed heavily on the two trembling stone coffins. At the center of the golden soul-suppressing tombstone was a bright red heart the size of a water tank. It was filled with powerful dragon power and life force, and had fused with the golden soul-suppressing tombstone. Dragon heart. So the dragon heart is embedded in the soul-suppressing tablet. Looking at the dragon's heart embedded in the golden stone tablet, Yi Chunfeng felt his soul tremble. He felt that the dragon's heart in front of him was like a living mythical beast that could easily kill him. Dong dong dong. As the devil skull and devil Saint Cold Knight's resistance grew stronger and stronger, the dragon heart began to beat. Every time it beat, the space around it would tremble, causing Yi Chunfeng's blood and energy to roil violently, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. Under the dual suppression of the heart of the dragon and the golden soul-suppressing tablet, the resistance of the devil skull and Tao spirit began to weaken. Finally, the two restless stone coffins calmed down. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath and suppressed his surging blood and energy. He continued to circulate the soul-devouring art, refining the dragon blood that had spread throughout his body and almost caused his blood to explode. He was going all out to break through to the rank 5 reverse Beast King realm. The dragon blood tree was a first-rate spiritual item in the Fighting Soul continent. It had been growing for close to 200,000 years, and the dragon blood it contained was extremely terrifying. If Yi Qinfeng wasn't strong enough to withstand the impact of the dragon blood, his body would have exploded long ago. When the primal chaos divine would crazily pour the dragon blood into Yi Qinfeng's body, it was also absorbing the dragon blood and slowly growing. 5-color divine leaves grew out one after another, and the terrifying primal chaos energy was constantly being nurtured. Just as Yi Qinfeng was in the depths of the ultimate palace, refining the power of the dragon's blood to break through to the 5th level of the Beast King realm, the demon and the black praying mantis appeared below the 4th divine palace, looking at it from afar. "Master, do you think they will help you release the devil skull and Tao spirit?" The black praying mantis looked at the 4th divine hall that terrified it and asked the devil body in a low voice. "That person can reconstruct the Emperor's Sky Sword. It must be related to that old fellow, Tian. Furthermore, he came here more than 100,000 years later. Apart from wanting to reconstruct the Emperor's Sky Sword, it is very likely that he wants the dragon heart and the dragon blood tree. Therefore, it is very likely that he will release my devil skull and Tao spirit. Even if he gives up at the last moment, I still have a backup plan," the devil body said sinisterly. "A backup plan? Master, do you think he has the power to restrain us?" the black praying mantis, who is extremely intelligent, asked. "So what if he has the power to restrain us? Even Tian couldn't kill us back then. How can a mere 4th-rank defiant Beast King do that? As long as I reconstruct my demon body and fuse with my Tao spirit, I'll be able to crush a mere junior like him to death with one hand." The demon body didn't put Yi Qinfeng in his heart at all, and said ferociously, "However, just in case, try your best to drive the dead creatures in the dragon abyss here. Once the soul-suppressing power in the divine hall disappears, my devil skull and Tao spirit will be released. Immediately get those dead creatures to attack the divine hall and help me reconstruct my devil body," the devil body ordered. Time passed day by day. Under the command of the black praying mantis, tens of thousands of dead creatures gathered below the 4th divine hall. A dense aura of death permeated the void, causing the entire space to become oppressive. Just as the devil body was making thorough preparations, Yi Qinfeng, who was enduring inhumane torment and refining the dragon blood with all his might, finally made it through the most painful stage. The soul power in his body was also overflowing, and the 2-headed blood dragon king had also reached the limit of his realm. Rank 5 Reverse Beast King breakthrough. When the time was right, Yi Qinfeng compressed all his soul power to the limit and broke through the bottleneck of his realm in one fell swoop. Boom! The bottleneck of his cultivation base was broken, and an extremely boundless energy surged into his body like a tidal wave, greatly increasing his strength. In the blink of an eye, Yi Qinfeng's soul power had reached a terrifying level. His strength had nearly doubled, and his dragon bloodline had also advanced to rank 4. Once ignited, his soul power would increase by 4 times. If it was an ordinary rank 4 Reverse Beast King expert, after merging with the dragon blood, they would definitely be able to break through to rank 6 Reverse Beast King or even half-step Battle Beast Emperor. However, Yi Qinfeng had only broken through by 1 rank. It was enough to show how sturdy his foundation was and how terrifying his foundation was. As for the primal chaos divine wood, it had absorbed the majority of the dragon blood tree's energy and grew a little more. It had grown close to 100 5-color divine leaves, and the tree had nurtured 33 strands of primal chaos force. Dragon bone energy fuse. After breaking through to the 5th grade defiant Beast King realm, Yi Qinfeng didn't stop. He opened the lid of the vermilion bird cauldron, drawing out the dragon bone essence he had refined over the past few days. He swallowed it directly, wanting to cultivate his spirit body to the great circle of perfection in one go. After devouring the essence refined from the dragon skull bone, Yi Qinfeng's meridians, which had just been repaired by the life Tao pattern, were once again opened up by the boundless energy. Immense pain spread throughout his entire body. Divine Nine Transformations Condensed Bead. Enduring the immense pain, Yi Chunfeng quickly circulated the Divine Nine Transformations and poured the Dragon Bone Essence into his Heaven's Hall acupoint to condense the final spirit bead. Once he condensed the fifth spirit bead, his pure strength would reach 14 million kilograms. With the addition of his soul power, his strength would reach 18 million kilograms. When he transformed into his divine demon body, his strength would reach 40 million kilograms. He would be able to easily crush a rank 2 combat beast emperor. Under the rapid refinement of the Divine Nine Transformations, more and more energy poured into Yi Chunfeng's Heaven's Hall acupoint. Slowly, a faintly discernible spirit bead appeared in his Heaven's Hall acupoint, greatly increasing his strength. Days passed by. Yi Chunfeng spent close to 3 days and finally managed to fuse the dragon bone essence and a small portion of the dragon blood into his Heaven's Hall acupoint. He condensed the fifth spirit bead in one fell swoop and cultivated the Divine Nine Transformations first stage to grand perfection. For those who wish to read the latest chapters, please visit the Gathered Cloud Pavilion or on your mobile phone. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to read it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 636. Phew, my spirit body has reached perfection. With his spirit body reaching perfection, Yi Chunfeng felt that his body was filled with explosive power. His physical defense had also increased and was infinitely close to the level of a supreme grade heaven artifact. As for the sword puppet, it had swallowed 54 heaven crystals of different quality and had reached the level of a level 2 Dao Saint. It could easily kill a level 6 Beast Emperor expert with one strike. BR, level 2 Dao Saint. Master, is he your clone? The Dtian sword spirit had followed Dtian for his entire life and was very accurate in determining one's strength. Through the aura that the sword puppet was emitting, he was able to determine his current strength and revealed a look of shock. BR, yes, he is my clone. The sword puppet could be considered as Yi Chunfeng's clone now that its consciousness was controlled by the Soul Devourer. BR, a level 2 Dao Saint clone. We really have a chance to kill demon Saint Cold Knight. Dtian's sword spirit finally knew what Yi Chunfeng was relying on. With a sword spirit puppet that was at the level of a second-level divine saint, they definitely had the chance to destroy the demon skull and Dao spirit before demon Saint Cold Knight could reform his body. BR, sword spirit, can you communicate with the dragon heart and help me make it recognize me as its master? The sword spirit puppet's strength had increased greatly. Yi Chunfeng set his sights on the dragon's heart. He had a feeling that if he could refine this dragon's heart, it was very likely that he would be able to break through 6 levels consecutively. He would be half a step into the Beast Emperor realm and directly break through to the level 1 Beast Emperor realm. At that time, the chances of killing demon Saint Cold Knight would be greatly increased, and he wouldn't have to be afraid of facing a demon storm head-on. BR, let me try. The Dtian sword spirit floated out of the Dtian sword and slowly flew towards the dragon heart that was embedded in the golden soul-suppressing tablet. He tried to communicate with the dragon heart that was causing the space to tremble. BR, dong dong dong. As the Dtian sword spirit approached, the dragon heart suddenly beat faster. Every time it beat, it would cause a large amount of energy ripples to appear in the space and attack the Dtian sword spirit, not giving him a chance to get closer. BR, I am the Azure Dragon. I am the sword spirit of Dtian. The green dragon and Dtian sword were the same. They had always followed Dtian. Not only did they know each other, but they were also very familiar with each other. Hearing Dtian sword's familiar voice, the remaining dragon's soul in the dragon's heart was a little lost. BR, Azure Dragon, have you forgotten about me? We followed Dtian and fought for our entire lives. In order to suppress that Devil Saint Cold Knight, you and I were both destroyed in this land of 2 extremes of life and death. The dragon's heart had suppressed Devil Saint Cold Knight's devil skull and Tao spirit for more than 100,000 years. It had consumed a large amount of its soul and lost a lot of its memories. Tion's sword spirit could only slowly awaken its remaining memories. Tion, sword spirit, Tion, I remember you. Aren't you controlling the 4 extreme lapels and guarding the front hall? Why did you bring an outsider to me? Slowly, the dragon soul thought of Tion's sword spirit and communicated with him spiritually. He is my new master. The reason I brought my new master here is to eliminate Devil Saint Cold Night. I wonder if you are willing to help us? Tion's sword spirit asked. Sword spirit, your new master is too weak. Even with my help, it is impossible for him to eliminate Devil Saint Cold Night. You should ask him to give up on this idea. The dragon soul had already sensed Yi Chunfeng's true strength. It did not believe that he, a level 5 reverse beast king, could eliminate Devil Saint Cold Night, whom even Tion could not kill. Although my new master is not strong, he has too many secrets on him. Furthermore, he has reformed the Emperor's Sky Sword. Perhaps it is related to my old master. More importantly, he has a level 2 Tao Saint clone. Tion's sword spirit continued to persuade. A level 2 Tao Saint clone. The dragon's soul was moved. Yes, as long as you are willing to help together with my master's level 2 Tao Saint clone, there's a chance that we can destroy Devil Saint Cold Knight's head and Tao spirit. At that time, his demonic body will be nothing to be afraid of, Tion's sword spirit said. Sword spirit, you should be very clear about the consequences once Devil Saint Cold Night escapes. Once he escapes, our sacrifice will be meaningless. The fighting spirit continent will be in a bloodbath because of him. I know, but other than the head and Tao spirit that you are suppressing, the rest of Devil Saint Cold Knight's demonic bodies have already escaped. The 4 great ominous swords have been taken away by my master, and the dragon blood tree has also been refined by him. Therefore, we have no other way out. We can only gamble. Tion's sword spirit told Dragon Mark about the stakes. Devil Saint Cold Knight's demonic body has escaped. The dragon soul's voice became serious as it felt the seriousness of the situation. Sword spirit, if he really wants me to give him the dragon heart without reservation and help him kill Devil Saint Cold Knight's demonic head and Tao spirit, he must pass my test and defeat me. The dragon soul pondered for a moment and said, if he does not even dare to accept my test, how can he kill Devil Saint Cold Night? The dragon's soul said in a low voice. Okay, I will go and tell my master. After speaking, Tion's sword spirit flew back to Yi Chunfeng's side and told him that if he wanted to subdue the dragon heart, he must pass the dragon soul's test. Okay, I will accept the test. Yi Chunfeng also wanted to test his true strength, so he agreed without hesitation. He kept the Tion sword in his hand and slowly walked towards the dragon heart that was beating slowly. Junior, you have to think carefully. I will not show mercy during the test. If you fail the test, you will lose your life. The dragon's soul warned coldly. Let's begin. Yi Chunfeng took a deep breath, and a high-pitched dragon roar sounded. The double-headed blood dragon king, that was more than 5,000 meters long, appeared on his body and sat cross-legged on top of his head. Dragon, I didn't expect you to have the top spiritual beast in the Duhan continent. Defeat me, and I will give you the dragon heart. If you fail, you will die. As it spoke, a green dragon shadow appeared on the dragon heart that was beating rapidly. It let out an earth-shattering dragon roar and attacked the double-headed blood dragon king. After fusing with a large amount of dragon energy and dragon blood, the double-headed blood dragon king was even more terrifying than the spiritual beasts of ordinary second-level combat beast emperors. However, the Azure Dragon Soul was the soul of a mythical beast after all. Remember the website, Sandwich Chinese Network. Chapter 637. Fiery Dragon Exterminating the World. 9 Dragon Sword Slash. Yi Chunfeng unleashed his sword Dao intent to the extreme. 60 sword Dao patterns shot out from his body and gathered into 9 fiery dragons that were baring their fangs and brandishing their claws. They whizzed through the layers of space and slashed towards the Azure Dragon's soul. Duplicate address access 7777777F6474772E636F6 Deror. After being attacked by the 9 fiery dragon sword slash, the Azure Dragon's soul opened its bloody mouth and twisted its huge body. It swung its dragon tail with great force and lashed out. Although the Azure Dragon's soul didn't have a physical body, and its soul spirit had been severely damaged after suppressing Devil Saint Lung Ye's Devil Skull and Tao Spirit for countless years, the Azure Dragon was an existence that surpassed heavenly beasts when it was alive. The soul spirit power that was instantly unleashed was still horrifying. After lashing out with its tail, Yi Qinfeng's 9-dragon sword slash was broken without any suspense. The terrifying dragon prowess stirred up the rapid airflow and lashed towards Yi Qinfeng with a powerful spatial pressure. Heaven's Heartless. With his astral body at perfection stage and a breakthrough in his cultivation level, Yi Qinfeng's body could easily withstand 7 Heaven Dao patterns. Now that he had transformed into his strongest divine demon body, he could completely withstand 8 Heaven Dao patterns prowess. Rumble. 7 Heaven Dao patterns gathered together like a roaring meteor shower. They brought along unparalleled destructive power and bombarded the Azure Dragon's tail. Boundless destructive power surged out like a raging sea and swept out in all directions. And what kind of power is this? After being attacked by the Heaven's Heartless, the Azure Dragon's soul's tail immediately felt a heart-wrenching pain. The terrifying Heaven's Dao power had forcefully cracked its tail. 8 Sha Azura Art. 7 Slaughter Halos. While the Azure Dragon's soul was bewildered, 7 Slaughter Halos appeared behind Yi Qinfeng. The rolling power of Slaughter, Sword Dao Intent, and Death Dao Intent surged into the Emperor's Sky Sword and activated the 3,680 offensive array patterns in the sword. Massacre 4th Style, Eternal Night. A pitch-black sword light soared into the sky and slashed toward the soul of the Azure Dragon. It was as if it wanted to split the heavens and earth. The Eternal Night sword light slashed out, and all the light in the Ultimate Palace was swallowed up. For a moment, the only thing left in the entire space was that invincible divine sword that could split heaven and earth. The slaughter energy was extremely harmful to the soul, and with the amplification of the Sword Dao Intent and Death Dao Intent, the destructive power of the Eternal Night Sword Light increased exponentially. After being attacked by the Eternal Night Sword Light, a deep sword scar appeared on the Azure Dragon's soul. The Sword Dao pattern and Death Dao pattern were constantly destroying its soul, causing the Azure Dragon's soul to roar in pain. Yin Yin Yin. The Azure Dragon's soul had been injured again and again, completely enraging the Azure Dragon's soul. It opened its bloody mouth and continuously let out world-shaking dragon roars. It was as if the roaring sea was churning the void as it bombarded Yi Qinfeng. 7 Sword of Judgment, Thunder, Devour. In order to test his true combat strength, Yi Qinfeng didn't summon the Vermilion Bird Cauldron or the Scarlet Thunder Pearl. Instead, he relied on his powerful attack to receive the attack. Rolling Sword Dao Intent, Thunder Dao Intent, and Death Dao Intent revolve around his body and formed a Thunder Sword whirlpool. It whizzed and devoured the terrifying roars of the Azure Dragon's soul. Rumble. The 2 terrifying attacks clashed together and immediately formed a majestic destructive force, causing the entire space to tremble violently. However, 2 breaths later, the Thunder Sword whirlpool was torn apart by the terrifying sound waves released by the Azure Dragon's soul. Wind Riding Technique. As the rolling dragon roars came, Yi Qinfeng didn't take it head-on. He decisively executed the wind riding technique and amplified his speed to evade. The moment Yi Qinfeng evaded, the Azure Dragon's soul let out another world-shaking dragon roar. It stirred up a terrifying air current and bombarded him ruthlessly. After being attacked by the dragon roars continuously, Yi Qinfeng, who couldn't evade, quickly gathered several Tao intents in front of him. It formed a Tao intent whirlpool and clashed with the dragon roars. Boom! The Tao intent whirlpool clashed with the dragon roars head-on. It resisted for a few breaths before it exploded. The terrifying sound waves bombarded Yi Chunfeng's body, shattering all the blood dragon scales on his body. He was sent flying, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. This Azure Dragon soul isn't testing me. Its real purpose is to kill me. The injured Yi Chunfeng quickly got up from the ground and looked at the terrifying Azure Dragon soul. In its bell-sized eyes, he saw a dense killing intent and awe-inspiring aura. After releasing the dragon roars to injure Yi Chunfeng, the Azure Dragon's soul continued to release dragon roars to attack. It stirred up the void and bombarded Yi Chunfeng, wanting to kill him in one go. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Sensing the killing intent of the Azure Dragon's soul, Yi Chunfeng didn't dare to be careless. He decisively summoned the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and spat a mouthful of essence blood into it. It awakened the Vermilion Bird's soul and went up to resist the destructive dragon roars. Fiend God Body. In the next moment, the injured Yi Chunfeng ignited his Fiend God bloodline and transformed into an even more powerful Fiend God Body. In an instant, his physical body was upgraded to the level of a quasi-Dao treasure, and his physical strength was close to 40 million gene. Second transformation. Seeing Yi Chunfeng transform into a Fiend God Body, the Azure Dragon's soul revealed a surprised expression. It was shocked by Yi Chunfeng's extraordinary means. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Suppress. While the Azure Dragon's soul was still in shock, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to constantly expand and suppress the Azure Dragon's soul, forcibly restricting its mobility. The Azure Dragon's soul was incomparably powerful, but its defense was its fatal weakness. Under the suppression of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, the Azure Dragon's soul's huge body trembled. Scarlet Thunderbead, Thunder of Death Attack. The moment the Azure Dragon's soul was suppressed by the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, the Scarlet Thunderbead shot out of Yi Chunfeng's body and released endless thunder of death. It devoured the Azure Dragon's soul and damaged its soul. Roar! 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 After its soul was attacked by two great Tao treasures, the Azure Dragon's soul was enraged. It twisted its huge body crazily in midair, tore apart the thunder of death, and crashed into the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. 7 Swords of Judgment, Heaven Shattering. When the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and the Scarlet Thunderbead were shaken away by the frenzied Azure Dragon soul, Yi Chunfeng rushed up against the violent air currents. Numerous great Tao intents fused into the Empyrean sword, and a blazing heaven-shattering sword light lit up the chaotic hall. It pierced through the void and slashed towards the Azure Dragon's soul's huge head. The terrifying attack power forcefully split open a crack on the Azure Dragon's head and greatly damaged its soul. Roar! The injury to its head infuriated the Azure Dragon's soul even more. It burned its soul without any regard for the price and raised its strength to the limit. It attacked Yi Chunfeng crazily, as though it would not rest until it killed him. No, there is definitely something wrong with this Azure Dragon's soul. Its current actions are definitely not a test. It really wants to kill me. After being attacked by the Azure Dragon's soul with all its might and feeling the intense evil aura in its body, Yi Chunfeng was under immense pressure. He had no choice but to burn his golden rock bloodline and dodge with all his might. With the destructive power that the Azure Dragon's soul had now, it only needed one attack to make Yi Chunfeng lose his ability to fight. Not only did Yi Chunfeng sense that something was wrong, but the Empyrean Sword Spirit also sensed that something was wrong with the Azure Dragon's soul. It kept increasing the attacking power of the Empyrean Sword and counterattacked the Azure Dragon's soul. Just as Yi Chunfeng's situation was getting more and more dangerous, and he was being forced to the golden soul-controlling monument by the Azure Dragon's soul, something unexpected happened. The 2 stone coffins that had been silent for a long time suddenly became restless and released endless demonic aura that penetrated the soul-controlling monument. It was like the tentacles of an octopus that wrapped around Yi Chunfeng's body, making him unable to move. However, the dragon heart that was suppressing the demonic skull and Dao's spirit stopped beating at this moment. In the next moment, the azure dragon's soul's eyes suddenly turned pitch black. Its huge soul was compressed to the limit and turned into a light shadow that attacked Yi Chunfeng's head, dealing a fatal blow to Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this book. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 638. Sword Puppet Defend. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng summoned the sword puppet in front of him and used its indestructible body to block the fatal blow of the azure dragon's soul. D.C. Boom. The murderous and unstoppable azure dragon's soul heavily crashed onto the sword puppet's body, causing a shocking soul fluctuation that distorted the space around Yi Chunfeng. In the next moment, two terrifying soul forces, one black and one green, penetrated the sword puppet and blasted into Yi Chunfeng's soul sea at a speed that was hard to be seen by the naked eye, trying to tear his soul apart. God-Eater Brain, Soul Devourer. Yi Chunfeng had been on guard against the soul attack of the azure dragon's soul. Before the two souls could erupt, the God-Eater Brain appeared in Yi Chunfeng's soul sea and formed a terrifying devouring whirlpool. It devoured the azure dragon's soul and the black soul and started to strangle them. No, what is this? A horrified roar resounded in Yi Chunfeng's soul sea. It struggled with all its might, trying to tear the devouring whirlpool apart. However, the existence of the God-Eater Brain was too heaven-defying. The struggle of the azure dragon's soul and the black soul became pale and powerless. They couldn't shake the devouring whirlpool at all. Devil Saint Cold Knight, I didn't expect you to corrode the azure dragon's soul and control it for a short time. When the black soul was about to be torn apart by the devouring whirlpool, Yi Chunfeng's consciousness appeared in the soul sea and whispered, Who are you? Devil Saint Cold Knight didn't expect that his meticulous plan would not only fail to control Yi Chunfeng, but also lose a part of his soul. He roared unwillingly, You don't deserve to know who I am. Be destroyed. As Yi Chunfeng spoke, he increased the devouring power of the God-Eater Brain and directly tore apart the soul of Devil Saint Cold Knight and the azure dragon soul. Roar. A part of the azure dragon's soul was devoured by the God-Eater Brain. The azure dragon's soul let out a painful roar. Its huge soul body began to crack, and the soul power in its body became weaker and weaker. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Suppress. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to grow larger and larger, directly suppressing the azure dragon's soul, suppressing its huge soul body in the main hall that was full of cracks. God-Devouring Brain, Dragon-Devouring Soul. The azure dragon's soul was firmly suppressed by the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Yi Chunfeng immediately summoned the God-Eater Brain and blasted it into the azure dragon's soul to devour it. The azure dragon's soul was severely injured and could not withstand the God-Eater Brain's devouring. The soul power in its body was continuously drained. In less than half an incense's time, the soul of the azure dragon was devoured by the God-Eater Brain. The God-Eater Brain is finally evolving. After devouring the azure dragon's soul, Yi Chunfeng discovered that the God-Eater Brain had split out a large number of brain cells and was slowly evolving. Once the God-Eater Brain's evolution was complete, its deduction and devouring abilities would become even more terrifying. Master, what happened just now? The Detion sword spirit floated out of the Detion sword and looked at Yi Chunfeng in awe as he kept the God-Eater Brain into his soul sea. The azure dragon's soul was eroded by Devil Sage Cold Knight's soul. Yi Chunfeng slowly said, The azure dragon's soul was controlled by Devil Sage Cold Knight's soul. The Detion sword spirit was stunned. If I'm not wrong, Devil Sage Cold Knight's soul did not completely control the azure dragon's soul. He could only interfere with the azure dragon's consciousness for a short period of time. Otherwise, he would have escaped long ago. However, if Devil Sage Cold Knight was given more time, he might be able to completely control the Azure Dragon's soul and obtain the Azure Dragon's heart. From there, he would be able to break through the soul-suppressing tablet and escape. Yi Qinfeng analyzed. Roar! As he spoke, Devil Sage Cold Knight, whose soul was greatly damaged, went berserk. He constantly mobilized his terrifying power and attacked the soul-suppressing tablet and Azure Dragon's heart, trying to escape. After losing the Azure Dragon's soul, the suppression of the Azure Dragon's heart was weakened to the extreme. Just the soul-suppressing tablet and the two soul-suppressing sarcophagi were no longer able to suppress the Azure Dragon's soul. Sword Puppet, go help suppress the two soul-suppressing sarcophagi. As Yi Qinfeng saw more and more cracks on the soul-suppressing tablet, he immediately ordered the Sword Puppet to suppress the sarcophagi. He wanted to take this opportunity to forcefully refine the Azure Dragon's heart and increase his strength. Flame of Life, refine. As he approached the Azure Dragon's heart, Yi Qinfeng immediately spat out his Flame of Life, burning it towards the Azure Dragon's heart in an attempt to refine it and fuse it into his body. Thump, thump, thump. As Yi Qinfeng was refining the Azure Dragon's heart, the Azure Dragon's heart began to beat violently. Every time it beat, it would cause Yi Qinfeng's blood and energy to surge. His blood vessels would swell, and his body would feel like it was about to explode. Taking a deep breath, Yi Qinfeng circulated the soul-devouring art at high speed, forcefully suppressing his surging blood and energy. He tried to fuse the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life into his body. Puff, puff, puff. As soon as the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life entered Yi Qinfeng's body, it immediately produced a powerful backlash, tearing apart Yi Qinfeng's meridians and repelling his body. It was unable to fuse with his heart. How could this be? Why is the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life repelling my body? Feeling the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life rampaging through his body like a wild horse, destroying his body and repelling his heart, Yi Qinfeng's brows tightly knitted together. Primal chaos. Do you know the reason? After the fusion failed, Yi Qinfeng immediately controlled the Primal Chaos Divine would to suppress the surging Azure Dragon's Flame of Life and asked the Primal Chaos Divine Beast. I think it's because the dragon bloodline in your body is too weak, so the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life is rejecting you, the Primal Chaos Divine Beast said after a moment of thought. Dragon bloodline is too weak. Yi Qinfeng frowned. Yeah, dragons are very noble creatures. It's very difficult for ordinary people to subdue them. If you want to gain their recognition, you either have to possess power that makes them tremble or be one of their kind, the Primal Chaos Divine Beast said. Sigh, I didn't think that fusing with the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life would be so troublesome. Looks like I'll have to make a trip to the North Sea ancient grounds of Slaughter City after settling the matters in the Western continent. Yi Qinfeng sighed softly. He helplessly gave up on the idea of refining the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life and increasing his strength. He planned to go to the North Sea ancient grounds of Slaughter City in the future and obtain the body of the white dragon that came from the Heaven Domain. He would further increase the quality of his dragon bloodline and refine this Azure Dragon's Flame of Life. Rune Seal. Yi Qinfeng's hands moved quickly, forming numerous runes. He forcefully sealed the Azure Dragon's Flame of Life and took it away with the Universe Mirror. Roar, roar. Without the most powerful Azure Dragon's Flame of Life, the sealing power was weakened to the extreme. Demonic chi crazily crashed into the soul-suppressing sarcophagus and the golden, soul-suppressing tablet in an attempt to shatter them and escape. Sword Puppet, come back. The shattered soul-suppressing tablet could no longer suppress the frenzied Devil Skull and Tao Spirit. Yi Qinfeng immediately summoned the Sword Puppet and handed the Emperor Heaven Sword to him. He was waiting for the moment when the Devil Skull and Tao Spirit escaped before he launched a fatal attack. It has been 180,000 years. I'm finally going to see the light of day again. I'm going to slaughter the entire Dahan continent and use the blood of millions of humans to wash away the humiliation that old man D. Tion brought me. The devil's body that had been guarding the fourth divine palace felt that the devil's skull and Tao spirit were about to escape. It became excited and led millions of ghosts to surround the fourth divine palace. It was only waiting for the sealing power to disappear before it rushed into the divine palace. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 639. Boom, boom. It was earth-shattering as heaven and earth shook. The golden soul-suppressing monument and soul-suppressing sarcophagus exploded from the surging black devil aura. The devil head and Tao spirit of Devil Saint Cold Night, who had been suppressed for 180,000 years, were finally freed. Sword Puppet attacked the Tao spirit. Yi Qinfeng knew that the Tao spirit was the source of Devil Saint Cold Night's power. As long as his Tao spirit was destroyed, Devil Saint Cold Night's strength would be greatly reduced and would no longer be a threat. Buzz! The sword puppet's body burned with the power of the heaven crystal. Its entire body fused with the Emperor's sky, sword and slashed at the Tao spirit that had just escaped. As the power of the sword puppet's sword was too great, the chaotic space couldn't withstand the power of the sword. A large number of cracks appeared, and a vacuum region appeared as though the entire space was going to collapse. Death Tao, Intent 10th Heaven, Death Tao diagram. When the sword spirit puppet slashed over, the remnant soul in the Tao spirit immediately sensed it. 100 death Tao patterns flew out and condensed into a black Tao diagram. It clashed head-on with the sword attack that tore apart the space and created thousands of layers of giant waves. In Death Tao diagram, the sword puppet burned the heaven crystal and slashed out a terrifying sword attack that tore the space apart. However, it wasn't able to break the Death Tao diagram. This allowed Yi Qinfeng to witness the means of the heaven domain's almighty. The Tao diagram was a diagram that was condensed from the Tao Intent 10th Heaven. It was extremely powerful. When a Grade 6 combat beast emperor ascended to the heaven domain and wanted to break through to the Tao Saint realm, he would have to cultivate his Tao Intent 10th Heaven and condense it into a Tao diagram before he could break through. It could be said that the Tao diagram was the capital of a Tao Saint expert. The stronger the Tao diagram, the deeper the Tao Saint expert's foundation and strength. Boss, this Devil Saint Cold Night must have a huge secret. Otherwise, his Tao spirit wouldn't have the power to condense the Death Tao diagram after being suppressed for more than 100,000 years. The Chaos Divine Beast's voice echoed in Yi Qinfeng's mind. And I also guess that this Devil Saint Cold Night must have a huge secret. Otherwise, he wouldn't have appeared in the Duhun continent and wouldn't have been suppressed for more than 100,000 years. Yi Qinfeng nodded and continued to command the sword puppet to attack. Human, I'll let you off today, but I'll tear you apart the next time we meet. Part of his soul had been devoured by the God-Eater brain, and the strength of the sword puppet was a great threat to him. Devil Saint Cold Night immediately controlled the head and the Tao spirit to escape from the divine palace. He wanted to find Yi Qinfeng to settle the score after he had reconstructed his devil body. You want to leave? Not so easy. The sword spirit puppet let out a roar and used its indestructible body to block the demon head. Boundless sword light shot out from the Emperor celestial sword and swept across the heavens and earth. It slashed down in a shocking manner and enveloped the demon head within sword shadows. Tao diagram of death blocked. The two-star Tao Saint sword puppet wielded the Emperor's celestial sword, and the sword shadows that it slashed out were extremely terrifying. Demon Skull was unable to break out of the encirclement and could only control the Death Tao diagram to defend with all its might. Chaos Divine Beast, Golden Clear Dragon Bloodlion, come out and help. While the sword puppet was attacking the demonic skull with all its might, Yi Qinfeng summoned the 2 level 8 heavenly beasts to coordinate with the sword puppet. Yi Feng also summoned the vermilion bird cauldron and the scarlet thunder pearl, controlling the two treasures to attack the demonic skull. He wanted to destroy the demonic skull at all costs. Death Whirlpool. After being bombarded by waves of attacks, cracks appeared on the terrifying Death Dao diagram. The demonic skull had no choice but to disperse the Death Dao diagram, forming a massive death whirlpool that engulfed the heavens and the earth, crushing the attacks of Yi Feng and the others. Crescent Slash. When the demonic skull borrowed the power of the death whirlpool to forcefully break out of the encirclement, the sword puppet merged with the Emperor Celestial Sword again. The Emperor Celestial Sword Spirit had also activated the 3,680 offensive array patterns on the Emperor Celestial Sword, increasing the attacking power of the Emperor Celestial Sword to the greatest extent. A crescent sword light slashed down like a crescent moon, splitting the sky. The sword prowess was overwhelming as it slashed on the death whirlpool, forcibly creating a huge gap. A concentrated explosive force was heard. Heartless Heaven Dao. The instant the death whirlpool was slashed open by the sword puppet, Yi Feng ignited his God Fiend bloodline again and transformed into his God Fiend body. 8 Heaven Dao patterns flew out and transformed into a roaring Heaven Dao torrent, bombarding the demonic skull. Roar! Roar! Although Yi Feng was unable to unleash the true power of the Heaven Dao, the Heaven Dao was the foundation of all Daos. When the Heaven Dao struck the demonic skull, the demonic spirit was greatly damaged, causing the demonic skull to constantly roar in pain. Primordial Chaos Roar. Dragon Lion Roar. The Primordial Chaos Divine Beast and the Golden Clear Dragon Blood Lion also released powerful sound waves that blended together and bombarded the demonic skull, continuing to damage the demonic spirit. Lowly human, I swear that I will turn you into ashes. The demonic spirit was injured again and again, causing the demonic skull to go berserk. It burned its Dao spirit at all costs and forcefully increased its strength, trying its best to break out of the encirclement. At this moment, sensing that the demonic skull and Dao spirit had broken free, the demonic body and the black praying mantis drove tens of thousands of ghostly creatures into the sky. They charged at the fourth shrine, which was rapidly decreasing in strength, wanting to destroy the shrine. Not good, Master. A large number of ghostly creatures are charging at the shrine outside. I reckon that the demonic body should be outside. Through the shrine's restrictions, the Desolate sword spirit sensed the situation outside and sent a voice transmission to inform him. Don't bother about them. Attack the demonic skull with all your might. Yi Feng did not get distracted because of this. He used all his strength to control the vermilion bird cauldron and the scarlet thunder pearl to attack the demonic skull, causing cracks to appear on the tough demonic skull. Dao Diagram of Death Defend. The demonic skull cracked, and the demonic spirit could only continue to burn its Dao spirit. Once again, it condensed the terrifying Dao Diagram of Death to defend with all its might. As the Dao Diagram of Death was condensed, it immediately released boundless Dao of Death, forming layers of death barriers around the demonic skull. It blocked off the attacks of the vermilion bird cauldron, the scarlet thunder pearl, and the 2 heavenly beasts. Sky Crystal Ignition. Desolate Sword Slash. When Yi Feng and the 2 heavenly beasts' attacks were neutralized by the Dao Diagram of Death, the sky crystal in the sword puppet's body started to burn again. Streaks of shocking sword light slashed down and slashed at the Dao Diagram of Death. As the sword puppet's attacking power was too terrifying, every streak of sword light slashed open the space, leaving behind a shocking sword scar. When a sword light slashed on the Dao Diagram of Death, the terrifying destructive power constantly cracked the Dao Diagram of Death and damaged the demonic skull. Dao Diagram of Death Explode. Unable to defend against the sword puppet's attacks, the demonic skull did not hesitate to detonate the Dao Diagram of Death. Suddenly, an endless amount of Death Dao will erupted. Like a tidal wave, it swept out in all directions, forcefully pushing back Yi Feng and the 2 heavenly beasts who had turned pale with fright. The sword spirit puppet, which was approaching in extremely fast speed, was swallowed up. Just as the demonic skull seized the opportunity of the Tao diagram of death's self-destruction to break out of the encirclement, the sword puppet ignored the self-destruction of the Tao diagram of death. It wielded the Detion sword and struck the demonic skull. Gotcha! The demonic skull's hard skull was once again split open by the Detion sword. The terrifying Detion sword's power penetrated the skull, constantly damaging the Tao spirit and crushing the demonic soul. Boom! Just as the demonic skull was severely injured and the sword puppet continued to attack, the front hall of the fourth shrine was attacked by tens of thousands of ghosts, demonic bodies, and the black praying mantis. It collapsed and shook the entire shrine. Seizing the opportunity when the shrine was shaking violently, the demonic skull burned its Tao spirit again and forcefully passed through the sword shadows of the sword puppet. It flew at an extremely fast speed toward Yi Chunfeng, who had dodged far away. Despicable human, go to hell. The demonic skull burned its Tao spirit and launched a fatal attack. It was bound to kill Yi Chunfeng, who was in charge of everything. Red envelopes. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 640. It is still not certain who will die. The Devil Skull launched a fatal attack, but Yi Chunfeng's deep eyes did not reveal any trace of fear. He stood still like a mountain as 13 streaks of chaos power gushed out of his body. They were like 13 streaks of five-color divine light that cut through everything and bombarded the Devil Skull. One Kansha Kacha, the Devil Skull, which was covered in cracks, was struck by the 13 streaks of chaos power at close range. Even the extremely tough Tao spirit had cracks, causing the Devil Skull to howl in pain. What kind of power is this? The Devil Skull could not believe that Yi Chunfeng, whom he viewed as an ant, actually possessed a terrifying power that could severely injure or even kill him. The Devil Skull was penetrated by the 13 streaks of chaos power, and the sword puppet's attacks came one after another. The Empyrean Celestial Sword, which had been completely activated, continuously slashed the Devil Skull, worsening its injuries. Just as the Devil Skull was about to be destroyed by the sword puppet, the Ultimate Palace Hall suddenly shook violently. Tens of thousands of ghosts, driven by the devil body, crashed through the doors of the Ultimate Palace Hall and barged in. For a moment, the entire Ultimate Palace Hall was in chaos. The severely injured Devil Skull burned its Tao spirit for the fourth time, forming a Tao diagram of death. It blocked the sword puppet's fatal attack and took advantage of the chaos to escape from the collapsing Ultimate Palace Hall. Vermilion Bird Cauldron, suppress. While the Devil Skull was trying its best to escape, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to descend from the sky, instantly killing hundreds of ghosts and suppressing the Devil Skull. One Kanshuk just as the Devil Skull was about to be suppressed by the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, two sharp saber lights cut across the void and slashed on the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. The powerful attack shook the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and helped the Devil Skull to escape. Not good. The Vermilion Bird Cauldron had failed to suppress the Devil Skull. Yi Chunfeng realized that the Devil Body and the Black Praying Mantis had appeared. The one who shook the Vermilion Bird Cauldron was the Black Praying Mantis with terrifying attack power. Reconstruct the Devil Body. There was a loud roar as the Devil Body and the Devil Skull clashed together. Endless demonic auras spread out, causing the entire spatial zone to tremble violently. I, Devil Saint Cold Knight, have been reborn. When the demonic head and the demonic body fused together, Devil Saint Cold Knight reformed his demonic body and let out a ferocious roar. Rolling sound waves swept out in all directions, venting the anger that had accumulated for more than 100,000 years. However, because Devil Saint Cold Knight's demon heart had been refined by Mo Fengyun, although Devil Saint Cold Knight had reformed his demon body, it was not complete, and he still could not recover to his peak strength. Chi! The sound of space being torn apart rang out as demon Saint Cold Night reformed his demonic body. As he roared at the sky, the sword puppet slashed at him as one with its weapon. The unstoppable sword light stirred up the power of wind, clouds, and thunder, leaving a deep sword mark on the body of Devil Saint Cold Night. Devil Saint Cold Night, who had just reformed his body, was sent flying away. Then, the sword puppet swung its sword again. A terrifying sword ray pierced through space and sent the black praying mantis flying. Its huge body was almost torn apart by this attack. Chaos Divine Beast, Golden Clear Dragon Bloodlion, kill Devil Saint Cold Night with all your strength. Devil Saint Cold Night was sent flying by the sword puppet. Yi Chen Feng and the two heavenly beasts tore through the ghost tide and quickly closed in on Devil Saint Cold Night. They continued to attack him, wanting to destroy him while the demonic head was injured and his Tao spirit was severely depleted. Sky Demon Demonic Chains. Enduring the fierce attacks of the sword puppet, Yi Chen Feng and the others, 5 black chains as thick as a child's arm shot out from Devil Saint Cold Night's body. They were like ferocious flood dragons that coiled around them. They wanted to forcefully bind them and escape. Facing the attacks of the Sky Demon Demonic Chains, the sword puppet did not dodge. Instead, it wielded the Emperor Heaven Sword and used its absolute strength to break the 5 Sky Demon Demonic Chains, shattering them all. Damn it, where did that human come from? Such a terrifying clone could not have come from this low-level domain. Could it be that this low-level domain has a heaven domain inheritance? After experiencing the terror of the sword puppet, Devil Saint Cold Night's heart trembled. He did not want to continue fighting with it. He wanted to leave this place as soon as possible and find a place to recuperate. However, the sword puppet did not give him the chance to escape. It interweaved countless sword shadows and attacked him with all its strength. The two powerful figures continued to fight fiercely, from the sky to the ground, from the ground to the sky. The terrifying impact annihilated the space and crushed a large number of dead objects. Yi Chen Feng and the two heavenly beasts were unable to get close. Boom! The sword puppet and Devil Saint Cold Night fought fiercely for 5 minutes. The fourth divine palace could not withstand the impact of the destructive power and completely collapsed, falling from the red clouds. The instant the fourth divine palace collapsed, Devil Saint Cold Night, who was covered in blood, once again condensed the Death Tao diagram. Borrowing the power of the Tao diagram, he used his strongest move, Sky Demon, Dance of the 8 Directions. Devil Saint Cold Night transformed his arms into demonic weapons. He waved the universe and slashed at the sword puppet at an extremely fast speed. As Devil Saint Cold Night's attack speed was too fast, his arms seemed to have disappeared. There were only demonic shadows that were hard to see with the naked eye. They waved the universe and destroyed everything. Faced with Devil Sage Cold Night's killer move, the sword spirit puppet charged forward bravely without dodging. Boundless sword radiance burst out from the Empyrean celestial sword and clashed with the devil weapon that was dancing around the universe. A crack that traversed the void appeared in the sky above the dragon abyss and spread rapidly. Soon, a second and third spatial crack appeared in the sky above the dragon abyss. The entire void seemed to be shattering in the intense battle between the two. What? You're not injured? Devil Saint Cold Night fused with the power of the Death Tao diagram, but he was faintly unable to withstand the terrifying impact. His injuries continued to worsen. However, the sword puppet was still unscathed. This made Devil Saint Cold Night more and more fearful. Finally, the severely injured Devil Saint Cold Night ignited his Tao spirit for the 5th time and used all his strength to break out. Devil Saint Cold Night ignited his Tao spirit to break out, and the sword puppet immediately stopped him. However, Devil Saint Cold Night was determined to break out this time. He unleashed an earth-shattering attack, causing the sword puppet to be under tremendous pressure. Black Praying Mantis self-destruct. Just as Yi Chen Feng and the two heavenly beasts were getting close and wanted to forcefully seal off Devil Saint Cold Night's escape route, Devil Saint Cold Night, who was in a frenzy, gave the command to self-destruct to the black praying mantis. Hearing Devil Saint Cold Knight's command, the severely injured black praying mantis revealed a trace of despair. However, it was Devil Saint Cold Knight's contracted beast and could not disobey Devil Saint Cold Knight's command. It could only self-destruct its beast core and rush forward. Boom! When a level 9 heavenly beast black praying mantis neared Yi Chenfeng, its beast core exploded, and the terrifying energy burst forth like a volcanic eruption, forming a power that could destroy the heavens and the earth, distorting the space around it as it swept towards Yi Chenfeng and the two heavenly beasts, wanting to annihilate them in the storm of destruction. Not good. Although Yi Chenfeng was close to a Tao artifact after transforming into his divine devil body, the black praying mantis was still a level 9 heavenly beast. The power generated by its self-destructing beast core was extremely terrifying and brought about a fatal threat to Yi Chenfeng. As a last resort, the moment Yi Chenfeng teleported the two heavenly beasts into the universe realm, he ordered the sword puppet to block in front of him to block the black praying mantis' self-destruct attack. Devil Saint Cold Knight seized the opportunity when the sword puppet pulled back to defend and turned into a black light, escaping into the distance. Where do you think you're going? When Yi Chenfeng saw Devil Saint Cold Knight escaping, he decisively ignited the Golden Rock's bloodline. Under the sword puppet's defense, he forcefully passed through the black praying mantis' self-destruction and formed a destructive storm, chasing after Devil Saint Cold Knight with all his strength. Dear friends who want to read the latest chapters of this book, please come to the Yunlai Pavilion or visit me on your mobile phone. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 641. Swish, swish. Two meteor-like figures cut across the sky and sped through the dragon abyss. 1. In order to kill Devil Saint Cold Knight, Yi Chenfeng went all out. He burned a large portion of his Golden Rock bloodline to increase his speed as he chased closely. As for Devil Saint Cold Knight, he was severely injured from the battle with the sword puppet. The continuous burning of his Tao spirit had consumed too much energy, causing him to be unable to unleash his maximum speed. Gradually, Yi Chenfeng closed the gap between them. Sword Spirit, do you know of any ominous grounds in the Dragon Abyss that can trap Devil Saint Cold Knight for a short period of time? The sword puppet might be able to severely injure Devil Saint Cold Knight, but if it wanted to destroy him, it would have to trap him somewhere. Yes, I know of a place. If we can lure Devil Saint Cold Knight there, we will definitely be able to trap him. Tion's sword spirit pondered for a moment and told Yi Chenfeng the location of the ominous grounds in the Dragon Abyss. All right, then we will think of a way to lure Devil Saint Cold Knight there. Yi Chenfeng chased after Devil Saint Cold Knight as he tried to think of a way. As they flew, Yi Chenfeng's powerful soul spirit suddenly sensed three familiar auras appearing in a stretch of mountains not far ahead. It's them. Sensing that these three auras were released by Yu Bingyu, He Shi, 2G, and Ying, Yi Chenfeng frowned as he had a bad premonition. However, Mo Fingyan's clone, Mo Qinshin, was nowhere to be seen. Yi Chenfeng sensed Yu Bingyu and the other two's auras. They were still unable to shake off Yi Chenfeng's pursuit. Devil Saint Cold Knight, who was thinking of a way, also sensed it. He rolled his eyes and immediately flew down. One Kanshuk, who is it? Yu Bingyu and the other two had just killed a level 7 heavenly beast and were recuperating in the depths of the mountains. Suddenly, they felt a terrifying aura that caused their souls to tremble rapidly approaching. They opened their eyes and saw a black figure covered in blood through the lush canopy. Not good, Dodge. Seeing the black figure flying towards them like a meteor and sensing the thick demonic aura emanating from his body, Yu Bingyu and the other two sensed danger and dodged without thinking. However, Devil Saint Cold Knight was too powerful, and the oppressive force he emitted greatly slowed down their dodging speed. Scram! When He Shi 2G saw the ferocious Devil Saint Cold Knight approaching, He let out a furious roar. The blood in his body burned. Wielding the heaven artifact bloodthirsty sky axe, he unleashed the 9 frenzied, demonic slashes, wanting to force Devil Saint Cold Night back. However, Demon Saint Cold Night's strength was too horrifying. Ignoring the 9 axe attacks that could split the sky and split the earth and tear the air apart, he threw a palm strike at Heisher 2G. With one palm strike, Heisher 2G, who was burly and had just become a half-step combat beast emperor, was sent flying away. He crashed into several thick ancient trees and fainted in a pile of wood. "Where are you two going?" Demon Saint Cold Night sent the black rock earth pole flying with a palm strike. A large number of black light threads appeared in the palm of her hand. Before Yi Chunfeng could stop her, they wrapped around Yu Bingyu and Ying, binding their bodies and pulling them in front of her. 1-1 Kanshuk, Devil Saint Cold Night. I didn't expect that a supreme expert like you would actually use such despicable methods. Are all the people of the Heaven Domain's Devil Clan this shameless? When Yi Chunfeng, who was chasing closely, saw Devil Saint Cold Night holding Yu Bingyu and Ying hostage, his face instantly turned gloomy and he coldly sneered. Supreme expert of the Heaven Domain. After knowing Devil Saint Cold Night's identity, Yu Bingyu and Ying's expression changed greatly. A fear that came from the depths of their soul spread throughout their entire body. However, when she thought of her hostile relationship with Yi Chunfeng, Yu Bingyu's charming eyes were filled with despair and ashes. "Brat, if you don't want the two of them to die, you better scram obediently. Otherwise, I will immediately twist the necks of these two beauties and send them to the afterlife." Devil Saint Cold Night ignored Yi Chunfeng's ridicule and viciously warned. "Devil Saint Cold Night, I have a very unfortunate news to tell you. Not only are the two of them not my friends, they are my enemies. If you want to use them to threaten me, I'm afraid that your wishful thinking will fail." Yi Chunfeng revealed a trace of a cold smile. He summoned the sword puppet and locked onto Devil Saint Cold Night. "Brat, do you think that I will believe your nonsense? If you don't back off, don't blame me for being impolite to them." Devil Saint Cold Night coldly warned. He slightly increased the binding strength of the black silk threads. It tore the clothes of the two girls and left streaks of blood on their beautiful bodies. "I said, they are my enemies, not my friends. If you want to help me eliminate a great enemy, I welcome you very much," Yi Chunfeng said without a trace of emotion. "Is that so?" Devil Saint Cold Night did not believe Yi Chunfeng's words. With a thought, a terrifying devil chi directly tore apart the torn clothes on Yu Bingyu and Ying's body, exposing their hot bodies to the air. "Brat, this saint has not touched meat for more than 100,000 years. If you don't leave, this saint will ruthlessly ravage them in front of you." Devil Saint Cold Night viciously threatened. His blood-red eyes stared unwaveringly at the two girls' smooth backs and straight, slender legs. That expression was like a hungry wolf that had its eyes on the most delicious food. "No, don't! Yi Chunfeng, save us!" Yu Bingyu had been guarding the fear of death, but when she heard that Devil Saint Cold Night wanted to defile her pure body, Yu Bingyu's psychological defense completely collapsed. Her pale face revealed fear and despair. She loudly pleaded for her enemy, Yi Chunfeng, to save her. Although Ying did not ask for help and tightly bit her lips, her slightly trembling body still exposed the fear in her heart. "Sword puppet, exterminate Devil Saint Cold Night." Yi Chunfeng coldly looked at Yu Bingyu and Ying Bingyu and coldly ordered. His ruthless voice made the two girls' hearts fall to the bottom. "Brat, I want to see how long you can pretend." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's indifferent order, Devil Saint Cold Night's heart also had a trace of fear. If Yi Chunfeng really did not care about the two girls' life and death and insisted on the sword puppet to take action, then he would fall into a dangerous quagmire again. Rip! The black undergarment in front of Yu Bingyu's body was mercilessly torn off by Devil Saint Cold Night, revealing her wheat-colored skin, sexy collarbone, and delicate shoulders. The two full and straight peaks in front of her chest flickered with a charming light. It was very alluring. The last cover was torn off by Devil Saint Cold Night, Her wild and beautiful body was completely exposed in front of Yi Qianfeng. Yu Bingyu let out a scream. Bean-sized tears uncontrollably gushed out from her eyes and streaked across her beautiful and pale face. Yi Qianfeng, I beg you to save me. As long as you're willing to save me, I am willing to agree to any of your requests. Thinking of her impending tragic fate, Yu Bingyu fearfully shouted, Sword puppet, do it. Yi Qianfeng did not pay attention to Yu Bingyu's cry for help. He did not hesitate to order the sword puppet to attack Devil Saint Cold Knight, whose expression had greatly changed. Consider yourself ruthless. The sword puppet attacked with full force. Devil Saint Cold Knight poured billowing demonic qi into Yu Bingyu and Ying Bingyu's body and threw them towards Yi Qianfeng. Just as the two screaming women uncontrollably crashed into Yi Qianfeng's body, the demonic qi that filled their bodies suddenly turned into two pitch-black battle blades, piercing towards Yi Qianfeng's chest with irresistible force. Not good. Yi Qianfeng did not expect Devil Saint Cold Knight to have such a method. It was already too late for him to dodge. The battle blades condensed from demonic qi broke through his body's defense and pierced through his body. Suddenly, a large amount of blood spurted out from Yi Qianfeng's body, dyeing his clothes red. Under Devil Saint Cold Knight's calculation, Yi Qianfeng was unexpectedly seriously injured. This week's annual meeting, Yunlei will go to Haikao to participate in the annual meeting. Next Tuesday, Yunlei will resume the third update. For those who want to read the latest chapter, please come down to Yunlei Pavilion or visit me on your mobile phone. Mobile reading site. This book's address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 642. Sword Spirit Puppet, let's go. Yi Qianfeng, who had been severely injured by Demon Saint Cold Knight's scheme, spat out fresh blood, gritted his teeth. He had no choice but to give up on killing Demon Saint Cold Knight and wanted to leave quickly. BR, go. Do you think you can leave? After successfully injuring Yi Qianfeng, Demon Sage Cold Knight was overjoyed. Although his injuries were also serious, and he was afraid of the indestructible sword puppet, he knew that now was the best time to kill Yi Qianfeng. Once Yi Qianfeng died, his doppelganger would become an ownerless object and would no longer be a threat to him. BR, Sky Demon Ghost Chains. Demon Sage Cold Knight faced the attack of the sword puppet head-on. 5 black chains as thick as arms broke out of his body, and with an ear-piercing sound, they wrapped around Yi Qianfeng, who was seriously injured. Just as Yi Qianfeng was about to be entangled by the heavenly demon ghost ropes, the sword spirit puppet quickly made its move. It held the Di Tian Bana in its hand and created a ship that traversed the void. With one sword, it split the heavenly demon ghost ropes and blocked in front of Yi Qianfeng. BR, go. Yi Qianfeng ignored his injuries and rushed into the sky with the sword puppet, flying towards the depths of the mountain range at an extremely fast speed. BR, Xing, I will definitely kill you today. Demon Sage Cold Knight would definitely not let go of this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. He turned into a black ray of light and chased after Yi Qianfeng, determined to kill him. The two people who were chasing and escaping just now changed their positions at this time. Yi Qianfeng became the target of the chase. BR, you being you, do you think Yi Qianfeng can escape from the pursuit of the Sky Domain's experts? You being you, who had survived the calamity, crossed her hands in front of her plump chest and asked in a low voice. BR, I don't know either. You being you, whose face was pale, shook her head and said in a complicated tone, but I think he can escape this calamity. Sword Spirit, quickly guide me to that place of great danger. Yi Qianfeng did not care about the injuries on his body. As he burned the golden rock wings to escape, he communicated with the Di Tian Sword Spirit through his mind. BR, Master, did you intentionally get injured just now? The Di Tian Sword Spirit asked. BR, yes, I did it on purpose just now. Only by beating him at his own game would I have a chance to lure him to that place of great danger and finally kill him. Yi Chenfeng's soul had been tempered thousands of times. How strong was it? When Yu Bingyu and Yu Bingyu were charging towards him at high speed, he had already sensed that something was amiss. In a flash, Yi Chenfeng suddenly thought of the plan to take the risk and lure the cold night demon saint into the land of great danger. He beat them at their own game and allowed the demonic blade to injure him severely. Although Yi Chenfeng's bold plan was extremely risky and the severity of his injuries was beyond his expectations, Yi Chenfeng knew that this was his only chance. If he could not kill the cold night demon saint while he was seriously injured, once he escaped, he would bring a devastating disaster to the Dohua continent, and he would become a sinner for all eternity. Under the guidance of the Detian sword spirit, Yi Chenfeng quickly flew toward the place of great danger in the depths of the dragon abyss. The cold night demon saint, who was flying faster and faster, slowly closed the distance between him and Yi Chenfeng. A demonic sound that could pierce through clouds and split stones was released from his mouth. It fluctuated the void and bombarded Yi Chenfeng, who was not far away. After being attacked by the demonic sound continuously released by the cold night demon saint, the injuries on Yi Chenfeng's body continued to worsen. A large amount of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. Fortunately, Yi Chenfeng had cultivated the Atman body level to perfection. His body was strong enough to withstand the demonic sound attack released by the cold night demon saint. Br. Xing, I advise you not to make a futile struggle. You can't escape. Demon Saint Cold Night, Yi Chenfeng, who was bleeding profusely, revealed a sinister expression as he roared savagely. Br. Cold Night, don't be complacent. The next time we meet, I will definitely destroy you. Yi Chenfeng quickly controlled the Tao of life to repair the serious injuries on his body and deliberately responded. Br. Next time, do you think I will give you a next time? This time, I will definitely kill you. As he spoke, the cold night demon saint forcefully cast a secret technique to suppress the serious injuries in his clan. He continued to accelerate his flying speed and close the distance between him and Yi Chenfeng. Br. Wrath of God's punishment. The cold night demon saint was getting closer and closer. The 3 heavenly spirits flew out of Yi Chenfeng's body and quickly merged to form a tricolor destructive light ball, bombarding the cold night demon saint behind him. Br. Boom. The wrath of God's punishment exploded. The terrifying destructive power distorted the void and swallowed the cold night demon saint inside, crazily destroying his physical body. When the furious cold night demon saint forcefully tore apart the destructive power, another tricolor destructive light ball flew over and bombarded him. After being attacked by the wrath of God's punishment continuously, the speed of the cold night demon saint's pursuit was greatly affected. Yi Chenfeng once again widened the distance between them, which made him furious. He continued to accelerate at all costs to chase after Yi Chenfeng. But when he cast a secret technique and closed the distance again, he was attacked by the wrath of God's punishment continuously, which slowed down the speed of his pursuit. Just like this, Yi Chenfeng and the cold night demon saint, one chasing and one fleeing, crossed the extremely vast area of the dragon abyss and gradually approached the place of great danger that Detian sword spirit knew. Br. Master, if I remember correctly, after crossing the Black Mountain range in front of us, we will reach the place of great danger, Detian sword spirit said. Br. Good, we're finally here. Wisps of black fog drifted in the air, and the Black Mountain range was filled with a thick aura of death. Yi Chenfeng, who was bitterly persevering with his willpower, slowed down slightly, allowing the angry demon Saint Cold Night to close the distance between them. Br. There's something wrong with this place. As he approached the Black Mountain range, the powerful soul of the Cold Night demon Saint sensed something, and a trace of seriousness appeared on his face. However, he did not know that all of this was within Yi Chenfeng's calculations. In order to kill Yi Chenfeng, the Cold Night demon Saint did not slow down and continued to chase after Yi Chenfeng. Finally, after crossing the Black Mountain range, the Cold Night demon Saint once again closed the distance between him and Yi Chenfeng. Ignoring the injuries on his body, he launched a fierce attack on him. The rolling demonic flames were like a rushing tide, sweeping across the sky and bombarding Yi Chunfeng crazily. BR, sword puppet, defend. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng summoned the sword puppet to help him resist the attack of the soaring demonic flames. When the sword puppet was facing the waves of demonic flames, the cold night demon Saint finally caught up with Yi Chunfeng. He struck a palm across the air and pressed it towards Yi Chunfeng. BR, vermilion bird cauldron. The huge palm that covered the sky slapped over, and Yi Chunfeng immediately took out the vermilion bird cauldron to collide with it. BR, boom. A loud sound was heard, and it was earth-shattering. The rolling demonic aura forcibly shook the vermilion bird cauldron away, forming a strong repulsive force that fiercely bombarded Yi Chunfeng's body, causing him to fall from mid-air into the Black Mountain Range. And the place where Yi Chunfeng fell was the place of great danger that Tion's sword spirit had told him about. BR Xing, go to hell. After injuring Yi Chunfeng heavily again, the cold night demon Saint was overjoyed. He forcefully broke through the obstruction of the sword puppet and dived down at an extremely fast speed, wanting to kill Yi Chunfeng in one go. BR, yes, he disappeared. When Yi Chunfeng fell into a black fog, he suddenly disappeared. This made the cold night demon Saint stunned for a moment, but he did not slow down and chased after Yi Chunfeng into the black fog. BR Xing, you're running. Why aren't you running anymore? After chasing into the black fog, the cold night demon Saint, who was seriously injured, did not continue to run, but sat cross-legged on the ground to heal his injuries, revealing a trace of malevolence. BR, my side is not bad. It's very suitable to be your grave, so I've decided to finish you off here. Yi Chunfeng quickly swallowed a life spirit into his stomach to heal his serious injuries, and said coldly to the cold night demon Saint, BR, touching Yi Chunfeng's cold eyes and calm appearance, the cold night demon Saint frowned and felt a trace of inexplicable uneasiness. And at this time, the sword puppet penetrated the black fog and appeared in this place of great danger. It burned the sky crystal and launched a thunderous attack at him. This book came from /book/30/30709/indexmal. Chapter 643. Boom! The sword spirit puppet and devil Saint Cold Night exchanged a punch, and the terrifying power of the punch surged out dense energy ripples, spreading out in all directions at an extremely fast speed. Sword puppet, receive the Empyrean sword. After receiving the attack head-on, Yi Chunfeng immediately threw the Empyrean sword to the sword puppet and ordered it to unleash its most ferocious attack on Devil Sage Cold Night and kill him with all its might. While the sword puppet was attacking Devil Sage Cold Night, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain's power to radiate out. It seeped into this seemingly harmless but abnormally dangerous place to deduce the situation. Heavenly Demon, Dance of the Desolation. Sensing that Yi Chunfeng's injuries were recovering rapidly and that this place was a little strange, Devil Sage Cold Night felt even more uneasy. He used his arm as a saber and brandished the universe of the desolation, slashing at the sword puppet with extreme speed. He wanted to force it back and kill Yi Chunfeng with all his might. Heaven Crystal Burn. Facing the extremely fast saber light attack, the sword puppet kept burning the Heaven Crystal and went up with the Empyrean sword. Not only did it block Devil Sage Cold Knight's killer move, but it also injured his arms that were comparable to Tao artifacts and covered them with sword scars. Tao Spirit Burn. The sword puppet burned the Heaven Crystal to increase its strength. Devil Sage Cold Knight had no choice but to burn the power of his Tao Spirit and counterattack with all his might. Just as the two of them were fighting intensely for half an hour, Devil Sage Cold Knight seized the opportunity and suddenly approached Yi Chunfeng and attacked him. Divine Demon Bloodline Ignition. Divine Demon Body. Yi Chunfeng's soul spirit had been locked onto Devil Sage Cold Knight. When he approached, Yi Chunfeng did not hesitate to transform into his divine demon body and executed the merciless Heaven Tao. 8 runes of the Great Path shot out from his body, transforming into the roaring power of the Great Path. bombarding demon Saint Cold Knight at close range. Break for me! As the merciless heaven Tao blasted over, Devil Sage Cold Knight gathered all his strength in his fist and punched out. Boom! 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 When the two powerful attacks collided, a deafening explosion was immediately heard. Chaos Force attack. Demon Saint Cold Knight had used his absolute power to break through the heavenly Tao's ruthlessness. 10 streams of chaotic power shot out from Yi Chunfeng's body, cutting through space. With astonishing power, they shot towards Demon Saint Cold Knight, whose expression changed drastically. Chi chi chi. Demon Saint Cold Knight's fist was pierced by the 10 streams of primal chaos force. Following that, his right arm was also pierced by the primal chaos force. His meridians and bones were all damaged, and a large amount of blood spurted out uncontrollably. Half Moon Sword Slash. When Demon Sage Cold Knight was attacked by 10 streaks of chaotic power, his entire right arm was almost crippled. The sword puppet's entire body fused with the Emperor Celestial Sword, transforming into a demonic half-moon sword light. It tore through space and ruthlessly slashed at Demon Sage Cold Knight's back. Chi! Devil Saint Cold Knight's body defense was broken through. The dreadful half-moon sword light left a deep sword wound on his back, and a large amount of demon blood flowed out uncontrollably. Vermilion Bird Cauldron, Scarlet Thunder Bead, attack. Demon Saint Cold Knight had been severely injured consecutively. Yi Chunfeng controlled the two great Tao treasures to bombard his chest, forcibly shaking him. Demon Saint Cold Knight was already severely injured, and now that he was severely injured, his combat strength was greatly reduced. However, he knew that he had no way out. If he couldn't kill Yi Chunfeng while he was injured, it would be difficult for him to escape the pursuit of the sword puppet. Demon Saint Cold Knight forcefully executed a mystic art, suppressing the increasingly serious injuries in his body, and continued to attack Yi Chunfeng. However, before he could get close to Yi Chunfeng, the sword puppet blocked in front of him. The Emperor's celestial sword in its hand interweaved with countless sword shadows, enveloping him. Tao Diagram of Death. The attacking power of the Emperor's celestial sword was too terrifying. The severely injured demon, Saint Cold Knight, didn't dare to continue to use his body to take it head-on. He forcefully condensed the Tao Diagram of Death to resist with all his might. Union of Man and Weapon break. The instant the Tao Diagram of Death blocked the Emperor's celestial sword shadows, the sword puppet continued to fuse with the Emperor's celestial sword, turning into a light sword that was more than 100 feet long. It pierced the Tao Diagram of Death that was condensed from the 100 Tao patterns like a hot knife through butter. Kachacha. When the sword puppet's union of man and weapon pierced the Tao Diagram of Death, it immediately shook the 100 Tao patterns in the Tao Diagram of Death, forming a boundless energy wave that distorted the space. PFFF. PFFF. Seeing that the Tao Diagram of Death was being destroyed by the sword puppet's union of man and weapon, Demon Saint Cold Knight immediately spat out a few mouthfuls of essence blood at the Tao Diagram of Death. He repaired the Tao Diagram of Death and defended against the sword puppet's attacks, draining his energy. When the sword puppet and Demon Saint Cold Knight were fighting intensely, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Jinxing Dragon Blood Lion and Chaos Divine Beast. He ordered the 2 level 8 heavenly beasts to attack Demon Saint Cold Knight and interfere with him. On the other hand, Yi Chunfeng continued to control the God-Eater brain to deduce the truth and falsehood of this ominous ground. He was trying to control the natural array in this ominous ground. If the God-Eater brain could deduce the truth and falsehood of the natural array and control it, he would have a greater chance of killing Demon Saint Cold Knight. Kacha. Under the all-out attack of the Chaos Divine Beast and the Jinxing Dragon Blood Lion, Demon Saint Cold Knight had no choice but to divert his attention to defend himself. At this moment, the sword puppet continued to burn the power of the Heaven Crystal and increase the power of its attack. It pierced through the Tao Diagram of Death in one fell swoop. PFFF. The extremely sharp D-Tion sword light ruthlessly pierced into Demon Saint Cold Knight's shoulder. It pierced a bloody hole in his shoulder and continued to worsen his injuries. Devil Shadow Evasion. The injuries on his body continued to worsen. Demon Saint Cold Knight, who had fallen into a frenzy, didn't care about the injuries on his body and forcefully unleashed his speed trump card. His Tao spirit burned intensely, and Demon Saint Cold Knight's entire body became blurry. He dodged the attacks of a sword puppet and the two heavenly beasts. With a speed that was hard to be seen by the naked eye, he appeared in front of Yi Chun-Feng and launched a fatal attack at him. "You can go to hell for me," Demon Saint Cold Knight roared. His left arm drew an extreme saber shadow and slashed at Yi Chun-Feng. He wanted to cleave him in half. Primal Chaos Energy. At this critical moment, Yi Chun-Feng shot out the remaining 10 streaks of primal chaos energy from the Chaos Divine Wood. He blocked the extreme saber shadow that Demon Saint Cold Knight had slashed out and bombarded his body once again. What? Demon Saint Cold Knight had never imagined that Yi Chun-Feng could continue to shoot out primal chaos energy. He couldn't dodge in time and was pierced by streaks of primal chaos energy as he was sent flying. Slash! When Demon Saint Cold Knight was severely injured again, the sword puppet wielded the Detion sword and slashed out a shocking sword. The sword slashed at Demon Saint Cold Knight's severely injured right arm. The terrifying sword light forcefully severed his right arm. Roar! Roar! His right arm was severed by the sword puppet, causing Demon Saint Cold Knight to wail in pain. Just as he burned his Tao spirit and wanted to reattach his right arm, Yi Chun-Feng controlled the vermilion bird cauldron and suppressed the demon's right arm. Chaos Divine Wood, devour! At the next moment, Yi Chun-Feng took a risk and summoned the Chaos Divine Wood. It condensed thousands of 5-colored roots and inserted them into the demon's right arm, frenziedly devouring it. No! What is this? Sensing that the power of the demon's right arm was being devoured by the Chaos Divine Wood, Demon Saint Cold Knight roared and attacked the Chaos Divine Wood with all his might. However, at this moment, the sword puppet appeared and blocked in front of Demon Saint Cold Knight. It continued to attack with the Detion sword and forced Demon Saint Cold Knight to retreat. After losing his right arm and suffering severe injuries, Demon Saint Cold Knight was terrified. He had no choice but to give up the idea of killing Yi Chun-Feng and wanted to leave quickly. However, when he tried to break out, he realized that this space was isolated by a dangerous natural array. He was completely trapped here and couldn't leave. Mobile reading home, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 644. How could this be? Trapped in the ominous land, with his right arm cut off, Demon Saint Cold Knight, who was seriously injured, fell into a panic. Again, could it be that he lured me here on purpose? Recalling the scene just now, Demon Saint Cold Knight suddenly thought that things could not be so coincidental. He was lured here by Yi Chun-Feng, and he was afraid that he had fallen into his trap. Brat, you were injured by me on purpose to lure me here. Demon Saint Cold Knight, who had lost his left arm, looked at Yi Chun-Feng with a murderous look and said gloomily, "That's right. I wonder if you are satisfied with my trick?" Yi Chun-Feng revealed a faint smile and said playfully, "Brat, I'll kill you." After knowing the truth of the matter, Demon Sage Cold Knight went mad with anger. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that his meticulous scheme would cause him to step into Yi Chun-Feng's trap. "You still want to kill me even now? You're really daydreaming." Demon Saint Cold Knight attacked crazily. The sword puppet and the two heavenly beasts continued to block him with all their might and fought fiercely. However, losing his right arm greatly affected Demon Saint Cold Knight's attacking power. Gradually, his attacks were suppressed by the sword puppet and the two heavenly beasts. Chaos Divine Wood, speed up the devouring. When Demon Saint Cold Knight was restrained, Yi Chun-Feng controlled the Chaos Divine Wood to devour Demon Saint Cold Knight's right arm. What a powerful life force! Why does Demon Saint Cold Knight's right arm contain such powerful life force? When the Chaos Divine would devour Demon Saint Cold Knight's right arm, it discovered that his right arm was filled with a vast life force. It guessed that Demon Saint Cold Knight must have a big secret. Under the crazy devouring of the Chaos Divine wood, Demon Saint Cold Knight's right arm quickly withered. In the end, Demon Saint Cold Knight's right arm was devoured by the Chaos Divine wood. Ah, lowly human, you can actually devour my right arm. Demon Saint Cold Knight let out an uncontrollable roar when he felt that he had completely lost contact with his right arm. He could not believe that Yi Chunfeng had such a method. Demon Saint Cold Knight felt a trace of fear in his heart. Back then, even with Detion's strength at the Nirvana Heavenly Realm, he wasn't able to destroy Qin Wentian and could only suppress him. But now, Yi Chunfeng had summoned a 5-color divine tree that devoured the vitality of his right arm. If the Chaos Divine would could swallow his right arm, it could also swallow him. While Devil Sage Cold Knight was in a state of panic, the sword puppet stabbed forward with the Empyrean Celestial Sword. 3,680 offensive array patterns burst forth at the same time, breaking through Devil Sage Cold Knight's defense and piercing into his body. Roar! Devil Sage Cold Knight let out an inhuman roar as his chest was pierced through by the Emperor Celestial Sword. The power of the Tao Spirit was completely unleashed as he crazily bombarded the sword puppet. However, the sword puppet's body had an invincible defense, and the burst of Tao Spirit power was still unable to destroy its body. However, due to the intense battle with Demon Saint Cold Knight, the sword puppet's heavenly crystal energy had been severely depleted. If it continued to fight, the heavenly crystal energy in its body would be completely depleted. Slash! Under the all-out attack of the sword puppet, the severely injured Devil Sage Cold Knight couldn't withstand the ferocious attacks. His chest was split open by the Empyrean Celestial Sword, and his body was severely injured again. Devil Shadow Evasion. With his chest split open, Devil Sage Cold Knight was severely injured. Without a choice, he could only execute the Devil Shadow Evasion that was extremely damaging to his body. He turned into a Devil Shadow and flew into the sky. He wanted to borrow the power of the Tao Spirit to forcefully tear apart the nature array of the great slaughtering ground and escape from this place. When Devil Sage Cold Knight attacked the nature array, he had activated the hidden power of extreme death in the great slaughtering ground. Boundless death aura surged like a surging tide from all directions. It permeated the void and blasted towards Devil Sage Cold Knight. Power of extreme death strangle. When Devil Saint Cold Knight was attacked by the formation of great misfortune, Yi Chunfeng controlled the God-Eater brain to forcibly deduce the great formation of nature. He gathered the extreme death energy and increased the attack power of the extreme death energy. He forcibly knocked Devil Saint Cold Knight, who was severely injured and roaring furiously, to the ground. Half Moon Sword Slash. When Devil Sage Cold Knight lost control of his body and fell, the sword puppet slashed out with the Emperor Heaven Sword. The demonic moon-like sword light ruthlessly slashed at his left arm, forcibly cutting off his severely injured left arm. Roar! The Jinqing Dragon Blood Lion roared and bit onto Devil Sage Cold Knight's left arm that was spurting out blood. It then came to Yi Chunfeng's side. Vermilion Bird Cauldron, suppress. Chaos Divine Wood, devour. As the left arm struggled violently, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to suppress it. Then, the Chaos Divine Wood shot out from Yi Chunfeng's body and extended out tens of thousands of 5-colored roots, breaking into the left arm and crazily devouring the life force contained in the left arm. No. Feeling the life force in his left arm being rapidly drained, Devil Sage Cold Knight, who had lost both arms, let out a roar of despair. He couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng actually had a divine item that could restrain him and threaten his life. He couldn't accept the fate of being killed right after he escaped. Human, quickly stop. If you let me go, I can tell you a shocking secret. Devil Sage Cold Knight looked at the Chaos Divine Wood in horror and shouted loudly. Devil Sage Cold Knight, do you think I will let you go at this time? Yi Feng sneered and said without a trace of emotion, "Human, the secret that I know is something that even the Almighty of the Heaven Domain would covet. If you let me go, I am willing to share that secret with you." In order to survive, Devil Sage Cold Knight kept on using the secret on his body to tempt Yi Feng. No need. Yi Feng was unmoved and continued to order the sword puppet to attack. He wanted to destroy him while he was heavily injured. "Human, if you don't stop, I will immediately explode my Tao spirit and perish together with you." Devil Sage Cold Knight, whose life was hanging by a thread, threatened loudly. "Sword puppet, kill." The sword puppet didn't have much energy left in the heaven crystal. If he couldn't kill Devil Sage Cold Knight, only death would await Yi Feng. Therefore, Yi Feng could only order the sword puppet to continue attacking. Heaven crystal, burn! The sword spirit puppet wielded the Empyrean heaven sword and forced Devil Sage Cold Knight to retreat. Under Yi Feng's orders, it instantly burned half of the heaven crystal's power and crazily fused it into the Empyrean heaven sword. It activated the Empyrean heaven sword's strongest offensive power and slashed at Devil Sage Cold Knight. Crack! The space couldn't withstand the sword puppet's slash and started to crack. The powerful sword might caused a vacuum to appear around Devil Sage Cold Knight and was about to collapse. Roar! Sensing the terror of the sword puppet's slash, Devil Sage Cold Knight completely burned his Tao spirit and burst out with a shocking demonic aura to meet it. The dense demonic aura was like a black dragon. It roared and clashed with the sword puppet's shocking slash, stirring up an endless destructive storm. Sword puppet, burn all the heaven crystals. Yi Feng, who was holding the nether ghost tortoise shell and hiding far away, staked everything on this one throw. He gave the sword puppet an order to go all out. Slash! The sword puppet's heaven crystals were completely burned. It held the Emperor's Sky sword tightly with both hands and spun around in midair. It then slashed down with a man-weapon unity. The terrifying sword might engulfed all the light in the surroundings. It was as though the entire space was only left with this invincible divine sword with heaven-shaking sword might. Boom! The black dragon-like demonic aura was slashed apart by the sword puppet. The terrifying sword slashed down and split Devil Sage Cold Knight into two. Even the toughest Tao spirit had a crack. Just as Devil Sage Cold Knight wanted to use the powerful life force in his body to reconstruct his demonic body, the Chaos Divine would that he feared appeared with its five-colored divine light. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 645. Primal Chaos Divine would devour. Yi Feng roared and seized the moment when Demon Saint Cold Knight was severely injured and at his weakest. He controlled the Primal Chaos Divine would to condense tens of thousands of five-colored roots and broke into Demon Saint Cold Knight's body to devour his vitality. No, human, stop quickly. If you're willing to let me go, I can give you unimaginable benefits and help you dominate this low-level world. Feeling the rapid loss of his vitality, Demon Saint Cold Knight was terrified and had to beg for mercy. But in the face of Demon Saint Cold Knight's temptations, Yi Feng was unmoved and continued to control the Primal Chaos Divine would to devour him. You forced me to do this. Feeling the rapid loss of his vitality, Demon Saint Cold Knight went all out and wanted to self-destruct his Tao spirit and perish together with Yi Feng. Do you think I will give you the chance to self-destruct your Tao spirit? The moment Demon Saint Cold Knight self-destructed, a soul devourer's brain flew out from Yi Feng's mind and broke into Demon Saint Cold Knight's broken head, entered his soul sea, and frantically devoured his soul. No, what is this? After being devoured by the soul devourer's brain, Demon Saint Cold Knight was really scared and let out a desperate howl. He never dreamed that he would encounter a freak when he was escaping. Not only did he have a terrifying five-color divine would that completely restrained him, but he also had a brain that could devour souls. At this time, it was too late for him to self-destruct his Tao spirit. Under the devouring of the soul devourer's brain, his consciousness became more and more blurred. In the end, his brain consciousness was wiped out by the heaven-defying soul devourer's brain, and his soul was also devoured. Phew, I finally destroyed him. After devouring demon Saint Cold Night's soul, Yi Chunfeng, who still had lingering fear, let out a long sigh of relief and sat on the ground, panting heavily. If the sword puppet had burned all of its heavenly crystals just now, the slash would have been able to cut Devil Sage Cold Night into pieces. Without the powerful battle strength of the sword puppet, what awaited Yi Chunfeng would definitely be death. Fortunately, the scales of victory were tilted in his favor once again. He had the help of the Chaos Divine Wood and the Soul Eater's Brain, these two heaven-defying items, and he had the last laugh. In the end, he destroyed Demon Saint Cold Night. Soul Eater's Brain, Chaos Divine Wood, come back. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng summoned his two greatest secrets back to him. When the primal Chaos Divine Wood took root in Yi Chunfeng's heart, it immediately released a powerful life force that merged with Yi Chunfeng's body, greatly increasing his lifespan and strengthening his flame of life. 800 years of lifespan. The primal Chaos Divine would devour Demon Saint Cold Night's life force and increase my lifespan by 800 years. Yi Chunfeng's lifespan was originally longer than an ordinary reverse Beast King expert. He had broken through to the 5th level reverse Beast King realm, and his lifespan had reached 5,200 years. Now that he had merged with the life force released by the primal Chaos Divine Wood, his lifespan had reached 6,000 years, which was longer than an ordinary reverse Beast King expert. More importantly, after merging with a large amount of life force, Yi Chunfeng's flame of life had become very vigorous. His life force had become more tenacious, and his body's self-healing ability had greatly increased. Just as Yi Chunfeng was pleasantly surprised by the changes in the life force in his body, the Soul Eater's brain returned to his soul sea. He unexpectedly found a black soul fragment in the Soul Eater's brain. This is the soul fragment of Demon Saint Cold Night. Although he had killed Demon Saint Cold Night, Yi Chunfeng had a regret in his heart, and that was that he did not obtain the secret of Demon Saint Cold Night. But now, after the Soul Eater's brain devoured Demon Saint Cold Night's soul, it condensed a soul fragment. This made Yi Chunfeng overjoyed and excited, and he could not wait to fuse with it. Soul Eater's brain fuse. With a thought, Yi Chunfeng controlled the Soul Eater's brain to fuse with the soul fragment condensed by the Soul Eater's brain. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng learned the secret of Demon Saint Cold Night from this soul fragment, as well as the cultivation chants of the two great Tao techniques, Sky Demon Demon and Sky Demon Dance. As expected, this Demon Saint Cold Night was chased by someone and took the risk to escape to the lower realm. The reason he was chased was because he accidentally obtained the map of the Tomb of the Void, one of the 3 great divine tombs of the Tian region. It was precisely because he obtained a broken space-time shuttle in the Tomb of the Void that he had the ability to cross the spatial boundary and come to the Duhan continent. His life force was vigorous and his soul was immortal. He also obtained 2 forbidden fruits of life and 1 forbidden fruit of soul in the periphery of the Tomb of the Void. Yi Chunfeng finally knew the truth of why Demon Saint Cold Night took the risk to come to the Duhan continent. He had a strong interest in the Tomb of the Void, especially the forbidden fruits of life in the Tomb of the Void. If he could obtain some, he would be able to use the life spirit technique without restraint and greatly increase his strength. However, the Tian region was still too far away for Yi Chunfeng. What he needed to think about now was how to break out of the encirclement of Mo Fengyun, Yu Qinyuan, and the others and leave Lonyuan's sacred city. Primal Chaos, with my current strength, do you think there will be an accident when I refine Demon Saint Cold Night's Tao spirit? Yi Chunfeng, who was the size of an egg and had the appearance of a black crystal, asked the knowledgeable Chaos Divine Beast, who had not been swallowed by the Chaos Divine Wood. Yes. The primal Chaos Divine Beast said firmly, Demon Saint Cold Knight's Tao Spirit contains a powerful, demonic aura. With your current strength, boss, you won't be able to withstand the invasion of the demonic aura. If you want to devour this Tao Spirit, you have to take a spiritual item that can restrain the demonic aura at the same time. A spiritual item that can restrain the demonic aura. Do you think that Dragon Heart can restrain the demonic aura in this Tao Spirit? Yi Chenfeng pondered for a moment and asked, it should be possible. However, boss, the energy contained in the Dragon Heart and Demon Saint Cold Knight's Tao Spirit is extremely terrifying. With your current strength, devouring one of them is very difficult. If you devour two at the same time, your body will probably explode without any suspense. So, boss, if you want to devour the Dragon Heart and Tao Spirit at the same time, you first have to increase your physical strength and endurance. Otherwise, you won't be able to devour them at the same time, the primal Chaos Divine Beast said. All right, I got it. Yi Chenfeng nodded and gave up the idea of devouring Demon Saint Cold Knight's Tao Spirit to further increase his strength. He formed a large number of array patterns and sealed Demon Saint Cold Knight's Tao Spirit. Then, Yi Chenfeng used the God-Eater Brain to deduce the location of the natural array's life gate. He took the two heavenly beasts and left this place of great danger. He flew to the highest peak of the Black Mountain Range and prepared to meditate for a period of time while waiting for the Dragon Abyss to close. The high-grade Tao skill, Heavenly Demon Rope. This is a very practical Tao skill, and its level is quite high. If I can comprehend it, it can greatly increase my attack power. Yi Chenfeng healed his injuries for about a day. He controlled the Tao pattern of life to heal his injuries. He gave up the idea of continuing to explore the Dragon Abyss and cultivated the Heavenly Demon Rope on this Black Mountain peak. However, the Heavenly Demon Rope was a high-grade Tao skill, and it was extremely difficult to cultivate. Even if Yi Chenfeng had the God-Eater Brain, he couldn't figure out how to cultivate it in a short period of time. Helpless, Yi Chenfeng gave up on cultivating the Heavenly Demon Rope and started to cultivate the sixth move of the 7 Swords of Judgment, Destruction, and the Emperor Heavenly Sword technique. Time passed day by day, and Yi Chenfeng cultivated for 13 days without sleep and rest. He finally grasped the 6th move of the 7 Swords of Judgment, Destruction, and the 2nd move of the Emperor Heavenly Sword technique, Emperor Heavenly Sword. Just as Yi Chenfeng, who was immersed in cultivation, wanted to continue cultivating the 7th move of the 7 Swords of Judgment, which was also the most powerful move, a black light screen that covered thousands of miles appeared in the sky above the Dragon Abyss. The Dragon Abyss is finally closing. Yi Chenfeng spat out a mouthful of turbid air. He stopped his cultivation and slowly stood up. Yi Chenfeng looked at the black light screen that was slowly rotating and emitted a powerful teleportation force. Mo Feng Yun. I don't know if you're anxious from waiting. Yi Chenfeng was very clear about what he would face once he left the Dragon Abyss, but he wasn't afraid. His body flashed and swept into midair. Like a divine sword that could split the heavens and earth, he flew into the black light screen and disappeared from the Dragon Abyss. This book came from /book/html/30/30709/indexmal. Chapter 646. Spatial Whirlpool. They are finally coming out. Mo Feng Yun, Yu Qinyuan, and the rest have been waiting at the entrance of Dragon Abyss for several months. Suddenly, they discovered that the space around the entrance was distorted. Powerful teleportation forces were released from the spatial whirlpool and blocked the entrance. They were waiting for Yi Chenfeng to appear so that they could kill him and take everything he had. Kacha! A crisp sound of space tearing rang out. A young man in dark purple robes was the first to leave Dragon Abyss and appeared in Dragon Abyss Sacred City. Ziyun. Looking at the purple-robed man, Qi Tianshui let out a long sigh of relief and revealed a look of joy. From Ziyun's aura, he discovered that Ziyun had actually broken through to Class 4 Defiant Beast King. Before Ziyun entered Dragon Abyss, he was only a Class 2 Defiant Beast King. In just a few months, he had broken through from Class 2 Defiant Beast King to Class 4 Defiant Beast King. Ziyun, let me ask you, what happened to you in the Dragon Abyss? Where are the others? Did Yi Chunfeng die in the Dragon Abyss? Mo Fengyun coldly asked Ziyun, who was slowly flying over. Replying to Sect Master Mo, Dragon Abyss isn't what you think. It's extremely dangerous. There's a demon suppressed inside, a very terrifying demon. Many people died because of him. Because I wasn't strong enough, I hid in a shrine and didn't dare to leave. I only dared to leave when Dragon Abyss closed. As for Yi Chunfeng and the others, I don't know. I don't know who survived in the end. Ziyun narrated his experience in Dragon Abyss. Demon. There's a demon suppressed in Dragon Abyss. Hearing Ziyun's narration, apart from Mo Fengyun, Yu Qinyuan, and a few others, everyone was dumbfounded. It could be said that Ziyun's narration was beyond their imagination. Kacha. Just as Mo Fengyun and the others were about to continue interrogating Ziyun, the sound of space cracking could be heard from the slowly rotating spatial vortex. Yu Bingyu, Ying, and Heishu Tuji left the Dragon Abyss and returned to the Dragon Abyss Sacred City. Bingyu, why did you come out alone? Where's Zhongtian? Why isn't he with you? When Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong saw that Yu Bingyu had left the Dragon Abyss, they secretly let out a sigh of relief. They immediately stepped on the void and came to her side. Zhongtian, Yu Bingyu bit her lip and hesitated for a moment. When she thought about Mo Qianxin's identity and the uncertain fate of Yi Chunfeng, she could only tell the truth. Zhongtian was killed by Yi Chunfeng. What? Zhongtian is dead? A single stone raises 1,000 ripples. Hearing the news of Yu Zhongtian's death, Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong, the two elders of the Yu family, fell into a daze. Immediately afterward, a surge of anger was emitted from their bodies. They were completely enraged by this news. Although Yu Zhongtian wasn't the most outstanding genius of the Yu family, his talent and strength could be ranked in the top 5 of the Yu family. In order to nurture him, the Yu family had spent a lot of effort and resources. But now, he was killed by Yi Chunfeng in the Dragon Abyss. This undoubtedly caused the Yu family to suffer a huge loss. It would also shake the foundation of the Yu family in the future. Not only is Zhongtian dead, Mo Wang was also killed by Yi Chunfeng. Yu Bingyu looked at the enraged Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong and sighed softly in her heart. Mo Wang was also killed by Yi Chunfeng. At this moment, not only were the two elders of the Yu family enraged, but the entire Western Devil sect was also immersed in a sea of anger. A thick, baleful aura intertwined, making it hard for people to breathe. That means Yi Chunfeng isn't dead. Mo Fengyun's eyes flashed with a sharp light as he looked at Yu Bingyu with a complicated expression and said coldly, "He might have already died in the Dragon Abyss." Yu Bingyu sighed in her heart. She told Mo Fengyun and the rest about how Yi Chunfeng was heavily injured by the Cold Night Devil Sage and how he was being hunted down. However, she deliberately hid the fact that Yi Chunfeng had saved them. The devil that was suppressed in the Dragon Abyss came from the illusory heavenly region. He has already escaped. After hearing Yu Bingyu's explanation, even Mo Fengyun's expression changed. Yu Qinyuan said with an ugly expression, "Yes, that devil's strength is extremely terrifying. It is very likely that he came from the heavenly region. The Dragon Abyss is actually the place where that devil is being suppressed." Yu Bingyu nodded and said, "Sect Master Mo, this matter is too serious. If what Bingyu said is true, then once that devil leaves the Dragon Abyss, he will bring a destructive disaster to the entire Dahan continent. I must quickly send this news back to the Yu family and let them decide on this matter." Yu Qinyuan felt the seriousness of the matter and said solemnly, "All right." Mo Fengyun also felt a little troubled. However, at this moment, another crack appeared in the spatial whirlpool. A sharp aura shot out of the spatial crack. In the next moment, Yi Chunfeng, who wore a white robe and had an overbearing aura, walked out of the spatial rift while stepping on strands of Dao will and returned to Longyuan's sacred city. Yi Qinfeng, he didn't die. Seeing Yi Qinfeng's sudden appearance, everyone, including Mo Fengyun, was stunned. They didn't dare to believe that Yi Qinfeng had actually escaped the pursuit of the cold night devil sage from the heavenly region. He didn't die. He really didn't die. Looking at the familiar figure of Yi Qinfeng, Shadow's face that was hidden under the mask revealed a smile. Yu Bingyu, who was feeling complicated, also couldn't help but reveal a trace of joy on her enchanting face. Yi Qinfeng, I didn't expect you to be able to escape the pursuit of that devil and leave the dragon abyss alive. However, this still can't change your fate. Accept your death obediently. Mo Fengyun came back to his senses in an instant. With a roar, billowing demonic qi gushed out from his body and instantly gathered into a huge black hand. With a strong sense of oppression, it grabbed at Yi Qinfeng, covering the sky and the sun. We don't know who will die yet. 60 sword Dao patterns gushed out of Yi Qinfeng's body and turned into a light sword that could split heaven and earth. It slashed at the huge black hand formed by Mo Fengyun and split in half. 6th Heavenly Sword Dao Will. Looking at the 60 sword Dao patterns that were formed, the experts of the major forces who were hiding in the distance fell into a daze. They couldn't imagine that Yi Qinfeng had comprehended the 6th Heavenly Sword Dao Will to the 6th Heavenly Sword Dao Will in the Dragon Abyss. Black Wheel of Death. Mo Fengyun's face darkened. 10 black wheels of death that were filled with the dark Dao Will broke out of his body and tore the space apart as they slashed at Yi Qinfeng. Great Sun Heavenly Fire Fist. The 10 black wheels of death attacked at extreme speed. Yi Qinfeng decisively ignited his dragon bloodline and merged with the power of the 5 spiritual pearls. He blasted out fist radiance that was like a scorching sun and bombarded the black wheels of death. Boom, boom, boom. A series of deafening explosions resounded. The Great Sun Heavenly Fire Fist that was filled with 18 million gene of force and the power of the dragon bloodline blasted Mo Fengyun's black wheels of death. Mo Fengyun's tyrannical strength was revealed. Sigh, this is going to be troublesome. If Yi Qinfeng escapes from the Dragon Abyss Sacred City, he will definitely become the nightmare of our Western continent in the future. Our Stygian underworld sect will most likely become the target of his revenge. The supreme elder of the Stygian underworld sect, Shui Honghen, looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was displaying his invincible might. He sighed softly and spoke with concern. Master, perhaps things aren't as tragic as you think. Yi Qinfeng is a dragon among men. If he doesn't die this time, given his strength and identity, will he seek revenge on our small Stygian underworld sect? As long as we don't provoke him in the future, he won't bother about us. Shui Yuruo looked at Yi Qinfeng from afar and recalled the intimate scenes between them. She sighed softly in her heart and spoke faintly. Yuruo, perhaps you're right. Our Stygian underworld sect is only an ant in his eyes. He doesn't care about us anymore. Shui Honghen was stunned for a moment before he revealed a bitter smile. Yi Qinfeng, I have really underestimated you. I would like to see how much your strength has increased in the Dragon Abyss. Mo Fengyun had not expected Yi Qinfeng's strength to have increased so much. His face darkened as a terrifying force that could shake heaven and earth was released from his body. He held a heaven-grade blood saber in his hand and launched a fierce attack on Yi Qinfeng. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 647. I will let you be satisfied. At Yan. Yi Qinfeng's pupils contracted into the most dangerous pinholes, and his aura suddenly erupted like a volcano. He was like an unsheathed treasured sword that was extremely sharp. Emperor Sky's sword. Yi Qinfeng raised his aura to the peak, and the Emperor Sky sword flew out of his body. He gripped the Emperor Sky sword tightly and slashed down ferociously. A shocking sword radiance shot up into the sky and slashed towards Mo Fengyan. Crack! The sword radiance and saber radiance intertwined, and a crisp cracking sound was heard. Mo Fengyan's blood-colored saber radiance couldn't withstand the Emperor Sky sword aura and shattered. What? That sword of his? Mo Fengyan was shocked and immediately looked towards the Emperor Sky's sword that gave him a strong sense of danger. Instant kill sword. Just as Mo Fengyan was shocked, Yi Qinfeng's body turned blurry and tore through space. He turned into an extremely thin sword radiance and pierced towards Mo Fengyan. Yi Qinfeng's sword was too fast. It was so fast that no one could see the trajectory of his attack. Mo Fengyan's hair stood on end. He instinctively placed the blood-colored heavenly blade in front of his chest to block the instant kill sword. When the tip of the Emperor Sky sword pierced the blood-colored saber, 60 sword type Dao patterns gushed out from the Emperor Sky sword and instantly increased the attacking power of the Emperor Sky sword. The terrifying attack penetrated the blood-colored saber and continued towards Mo Fengyan's chest. TSK. Mo Fengyan's chest was penetrated by the Emperor Sky sword aura, but Mo Fengyan didn't reveal any trace of pain. Speed afterimage. After penetrating Mo Fengyan's chest, Yi Qinfeng wasn't happy. Instead, he was shocked. He realized that the sword didn't penetrate Mo Fengyan, but his speed afterimage. He sensed the danger and instinctively dodged. Myriad transformations Black Lotus. The moment Yi Qinfeng dodged, a demonic black lotus bloomed slowly and appeared beside Yi Qinfeng. It released a terrifying destructive force and blasted towards him. Beast soul form. At the crucial moment, Yi Qinfeng instantly changed his body form. Large patches of blood-colored dragon scales covered his body and instantly increased his defense. Boom! The myriad transformations Black Lotus exploded, erupting with a world-shaking destructive force, engulfing Yi Qinfeng, wanting to destroy his physical body. The 10,000 transformations Black Lotus, formed by the Devil Wind and Cloud, had fused with the Devil Sage Cold Night's Devil Heart. Its explosive power was enough to kill a level 1 Beast Emperor. However, Yi Qinfeng, who had cultivated his spirit body to the great perfection realm, had a physical defense that was comparable to an extreme heaven artifact. He forcibly blocked the explosive power of the 10,000 transformations Black Lotus. 7 Sword of Judgment, Thunder, Devour. Yi Qinfeng's sword Dao pattern and thunder Dao pattern flew out of his body and turned into a thunderous whirlpool. It was like a devouring mouth that tore apart the storm of destruction and bombarded Mo Fengyan, forcing him to dodge. Yeah, I'm fine. Mo Fengyan frowned, looking at Yi Qinfeng, who had flown out of the vortex unscathed. His face darkened. As for the experts of the Western Devil Sect, who had dodged far away, they were even more shocked. Not only was a level 5 Defiant Beast Emperor not at a disadvantage, but he even had a slight advantage. This allowed them to witness Yi Qinfeng's terrifying strength. 3rd Elder. The sword in Yi Qinfeng's hand should be an intermediate Dao artifact, right? The voluptuous Yu Hong stared at the Emperor Sky sword in Yi Qinfeng's hand and said with a grave expression, "Yeah, with the attack power contained in that sword, it should be an intermediate Dao artifact." Yu Qinyuan nodded and looked fiercely at Yi Qinfeng as he said with a gloomy voice, "Sigh. I never expected that after so many geniuses entered the Dragon Abyss, he would be the one to obtain the great opportunity in the Dragon Abyss." Yu Hong sighed softly. Only when he leaves this place alive would the opportunity in the Dragon Abyss belong to him. Thinking about Yu Zhongtian's death and the opportunity in Yi Qinfeng's hands, Yu Qinyuan's eyes flashed with dense killing intent. He was prepared to kill Yi Qinfeng at all costs. Mo Fengyan, don't hold back. Otherwise, you will become a ghost under my sword. Yi Qinfeng raised the Emperor's Sky sword and pointed it at Mo Fengyan as he spoke tyrannically. Ha ha ha. Yi Qinfeng, do you really think that you can go against me just because you obtained a great opportunity in the Dragon Abyss? I will let you know who the real king is. Mo Fengyun laughed loudly and kept the blood-colored saber that was pierced through by the Emperor Sky's sword into his spatial ring. The gold eyes fiend python bloodline in his body burned as he transformed into his strongest beast soul form. His body grew taller by a head and was covered in black snake scales. His deep eyes turned golden, and he looked extremely terrifying. Peak level 3 Combat Beast Emperor. Feeling the fierce aura of the demon Fengyun in his beast soul form, Yi Chunfeng's expression turned serious. 7 killing halos appeared behind him, and a killing power gushed out from them. Bam! There was a thunder-like sound as Mo Fengyun broke the space with a stomp and approached Yi Chunfeng with surging demonic aura. When he was 5 meters away from Yi Chunfeng, the demon heart that he had fused with started to beat strangely. The powerful sound waves caused the blood in Yi Chunfeng's body to rumble violently. Blood Devil Seal. The moment the demon heart attacked, Mo Fengyun quickly formed seals. 60 dark Dao patterns and 20 shadow Dao patterns fused together to form a fist-sized, extremely condensed blood-colored light shadow. It distorted the space and blasted towards Yi Chunfeng's chest. Emperor Sky's sword break. Yi Chunfeng let out a roar as 18 million gene of force, sword Dao patterns, and the power of massacre were infused into the Empyrean celestial sword. Like a hot knife through butter, the sword pierced through the Blood Devil Seal. Heaven's Heartless. After piercing through the Blood Devil Seal, Yi Chunfeng withstood the surging demonic aura. 7 heaven Dao patterns intertwined and evolved into a terrifying heaven's prowess as they blasted towards Mo Fengyun. Dark Dao Fist. Sensing the destructive power of Heaven Dao's merciless, Mo Fengyun, who couldn't avoid it, fused 60 dark Dao patterns into his fist. He condensed a terrifying, devouring power, which was like a black hole in space, and bombarded Heaven Dao's merciless. Boom! The two terrifying energies blasted together. Heaven's Heartless and Dark Dao Fist were both releasing terrifying energy, causing cracks to appear in the chaotic space. Scarlet Thunder Pearl, Thunder of Death. As the space distorted, the Scarlet Thunder Pearl shot out of Yi Chunfeng's mouth and towards Mo Fengyun. The terrifying thunder of death instantly engulfed Mo Fengyun. Damn it! How many treasures did he obtain in the Dragon Abyss? After being attacked by the Quasi-Dao treasure, the Scarlet Thunder Pearl, the black scales on Mo Fengyun's body were constantly damaged. He was forced to borrow the power of the Demon Heart to tear apart the attack of the Thunder of Death. However, the moment he broke out of the Thunder of Death, his pupils contracted into the most dangerous pinholes, and his expression changed. Yi Chunfeng seized the opportunity when Mo Fengyun was tearing apart the Thunder of Death and fused several Dao intents into the Empyrean Sky Sword. He then slashed towards Mo Fengyun with the sky-shattering sword that tore apart the void. Dark Dao Pattern. Seeing the sky-shattering sword that tore apart the sea of clouds in the sky, Missouri Fengyun sensed the threat of death and blasted the Dark Dao Fist consecutively against the sky-shattering sword. When Mo Fengyun relied on his absolute strength to break through Yi Chunfeng's sky-shattering sword, he suddenly felt danger behind him. Without thinking, he instinctively wanted to dodge. Mystic Extreme Dao. However, Yi Chunfeng's attack was faster. Several Dao intents condensed the Mystic Extreme Dao force and blasted Mo Fengyun's back at close range. Mo Fengyun was sent flying, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. Mo Fengyun, who was a level 3 combat beast emperor, was injured by Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 648. Gosh, am I seeing things? Sect Master Mo was actually injured by Yi Chunfeng. A level 5 reverse Beast King injured a level 3 combat Beast Emperor. Yi Chunfeng's strength is too terrifying. What kind of opportunity did he obtain in the Dragon Abyss. After witnessing Yi Chunfeng injuring Mo Fengyun and causing him to vomit blood, everyone present was dumbfounded. They had no doubt that if Yi Chunfeng didn't fall, he would definitely stand at the pinnacle of the Duhan continent in the future. Third Elder, should we strike together and use our trump cards to deal with Yi Chunfeng? Yu Hong asked with a gloomy expression as she looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was displaying his invincible prowess. Let's wait a while more. Mo Fengyun's strength isn't limited to this. Yu Qinyuan's eyes flickered as he spoke. He had no intention to help. Demon Heart, ignite. The Demon Heart of Demon Saint Cold Knight contained energy that was only second to a Tao spirit. Mo Fengyun had forcefully fused it into his body. Not only had he comprehended the Tao of Darkness to the 6th level, but he had also comprehended the Tao of Death to the 2nd level. More importantly, after a few months of fusion, Mo Fengyun was able to plunder a large amount of energy from the Demon Heart. With the help of the Demon Heart, his strength could rise to the level of a level 4 combat Beast Emperor in a short period of time. Yi Chunfeng, I will definitely kill you today. Mo Fengyun had not expected Yi Chunfeng's strength to rise so much that he could injure him directly. His killing intent surged as he looked at Yi Chunfeng with a ferocious gaze and spoke in a sinister tone. He was clear that if he couldn't kill Yi Chunfeng even with his trap, Yi Chunfeng would have no place in the Duhan continent when Yi Chunfeng grew stronger. I'm afraid you are not qualified to kill me. Although Mo Fengyun had ignited his Demon Heart and reached the level of a level 4 combat Beast Emperor in a short period of time and posed a great threat to Yi Chunfeng, he had a fatal flaw. He didn't have a powerful weapon, which greatly affected his attack power. Swish! There was an ear-piercing sound as Yi Chunfeng wielded the Emperor Sky sword and launched a ferocious attack at Mo Fengyun. Great Demon slaying Dragon Blade. Yi Chunfeng attacked with extreme speed. Mo Fengyun used his hand as a saber and slashed out a demonic dragon-like saber light. It carried a saber that made people despair as it slashed towards Yi Chunfeng. 7 Swords of Judgment, Eclipse. A crimson red light sword that was like the scorching sun broke out from the Emperor Celestial Sword. It brought along a sword prowess that seemed to be able to destroy everything and slashed at the demonic dragon-like saber radiance. The saber and the sword clashed, and a terrifying shockwave spreading out in all directions with a terrifying momentum. After the first strike, Mo Fengyun slashed out several more times. The overlapping saber lights were like endless waves, engulfing Yi Chunfeng in a sea of sabers. 7 Swords of Judgment, Destroy. Facing Mo Fengyun's saber sea attack, Yi Chunfeng did not dodge. Instead, he went all out to meet the attack. The power of massacre, the will of the great Tao, and the force of 5 million Jin gushed into the Emperorian Celestial Sword, slashing out a sword that could destroy void space and slashing into the sea of sabers. Boom! The Sword of Destruction slashed down, and the terrifying sword prowess caused a vacuum region to appear in the space. The entire space seemed to be unable to withstand this sword and was about to collapse and be destroyed. Boom! 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 The Sword of Destruction slashed through the sea of sabers, forming an energy that could destroy heaven and earth, tearing out a large number of spatial cracks. How terrifying! Is it Yi Chunfeng really only at the Grade 5 Defiant Beast King realm? That's right. I didn't expect that Yi Chunfeng's attack power would reach the Grade 4 Combat Beast Emperor standard. This young man is too terrifying. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng was not at a disadvantage when facing Mo Fengyun head-on, everyone present was deeply shocked. Even Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong's expressions changed. Master, we don't have any enmity with that Yi Chunfeng. Furthermore, I am indebted to him. Why don't we withdraw from this dispute and not deepen our enmity with him? He Shirtuji didn't expect that in just a few months, Yi Chunfeng's strength had grown so much. He was completely convinced by Yi Chunfeng's strength and transmitted a message to the Demon Cultivator to persuade him. The Demon Cultivator looked at the unrivaled Yi Chunfeng and sighed deeply as he said bitterly, Sigh. With the strength that Yi Feng has displayed, even if I wanted to help, I wouldn't be able to. Yi Feng and Mo Fengyun were engaged in an intense battle in midair. As their attacking and defending speed was too fast, they intertwined with each other in midair, creating afterimages that overlapped and separated constantly, creating dense sparks. Boom! The two of them attacked at lightning speed, causing the spectators to cry out in surprise. Although Mo Fengyun's cultivation realm was far above Yi Feng's, Yi Feng had the Emperor Heaven Sword, an intermediate Dao artifact. In addition, his understanding of Dao intent was above Mo Fengyun's. After fighting intensely for 30 minutes, Yi Feng didn't fall into a disadvantageous position. While attacking, the God Eater Brain's power completely radiated out and seeped into the restriction array that enveloped the space. It deduced the array's truth and falsehood, looking for an opportunity to break the array. However, as Yu Qinyuan and the rest were watching from the side, Yi Feng didn't summon the Chaos Divine Beast, the golden clear dragon bloodline, before he deduced the truth of the restriction array. He didn't want to be surrounded. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Just as Yi Feng held the Emperor Heaven Sword and faced Mo Fengyun's demon, slaying Dragon Blade head-on, the Vermilion Bird Cauldron shot out from Yi Feng's body and released endless waves of fire. With a suffocating pressure, it ruthlessly suppressed Mo Fengyun. Dao artifact. Feeling the power of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, Mo Fengyun's expression changed. He had no choice but to divert his attention to resist the suppression of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. King's Sword. While Mo Fengyun was diverting his attention to resist, Yi Feng held the Emperor Heaven Sword and slashed out an extremely condensed King's Sword that was filled with King's Qi towards Mo Fengyun. PFFF. Mo Fengyun's dark Dao pattern was shattered by the King's Sword. The reddish gold sword light didn't lose its momentum and slashed Mo Fengyun's body, breaking through his defenses and sending him flying. Large amounts of blood spurted out from his mouth. With the help of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron's power, Yi Feng didn't give Mo Fengyun any chance to catch his breath. With a flash, he closed in on Mo Fengyun and continuously launched tide-like attacks to suppress him. Third Elder. Mo Fengyun seems to be losing. Let's make a move. Yu Hong looked at Mo Fengyun, whose chest was bleeding profusely. His attacks were completely suppressed by Yi Feng and was in a desperate situation. Is Mo Fengyun's strength only this much? Yu Qinyuan frowned slightly and muttered to himself. Kacha. Just as Mo Fengyun's attacks were being suppressed, and he was in a precarious situation, a crisp spatial crack sounded. Mo Fengyun's clone, Mo Qinshin, who had obtained a great opportunity in the Dragon Abyss, came out of the spatial whirlpool. Not good. Seeing Mo Qinshin appear, Yi Feng immediately thought of the Sky Demonic Dao Soldier in his hands. Once Mo Fengyun obtained the Sky Demonic Dao Soldier, the scales of victory would tilt in his favor. Wind Riding Technique. Yi Feng decisively gave up on killing Mo Fengyun. With a flash, he flew towards Mo Qinshin, intending to kill him with all his might to prevent future troubles. Yi Feng's reaction was extremely fast, but Mo Fengyun was even faster. He appeared beside Mo Qinshin before Yi Feng could. Fuse. Mo Fengyun roared. Monstrous demonic aura surged from his body as he collided with Mo Qinshin. Under the incredulous gazes of the crowd, the two of them fused together. In the next moment, Mo Fengyun's body erupted with shocking demonic aura. After fusing with his clone, Mo Qinshin, Mo Fengyun's strength skyrocketed once again, becoming extremely terrifying. When the Sky Demonic Dao Soldier appeared in Mo Fengyun's hands, his aura underwent an earth-shattering change. It became terrifying, ferocious, and incomparably violent. It brought a fatal danger to Yi Feng. Yi Feng, the game can end now. Let me send you on your way. Mobile reading site. Book address. To facilitate your next reading, you can click Save at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 649. All-Directional Sky Devil Slash. The cross-shaped sword light lit up, and the entire space was in chaos. The cross-shaped sword slash, which was filled with Tao intent, split the space apart and slashed towards Yi Qinfeng. Mo Fengyun borrowed the power of the demon heart and reached the level of a Class 4 combat beast emperor. He was able to unleash the strongest attack power of the Sky Devil Tao soldier. His own attack power had also increased by more than 10 times, which was enough to threaten Yi Qinfeng's life. Wind riding technique. As the destructive sword light slashed over, Yi Qinfeng, who could smell the threat of death, didn't dare to take it head-on. He quickly executed the wind riding technique to dodge. I would like to see how many of my sword attacks you can dodge. Mo Fengyun's pupils contracted as he continuously injected soul power into the Sky Devil Tao soldier. The Sky Devil Tao soldier in his hand slashed out shocking sword light, which was like a sky screen that split open. It sealed the space and slashed towards Yi Qinfeng ferociously. Under Mo Fengyun's relentless attacks, Yi Qinfeng's space to dodge became smaller and smaller. In the end, all his space to dodge was sealed, and he could only take on the descending black sword light head-on. 7 swords of judgment, destruction. Yi Qinfeng, who couldn't dodge, let out a roar. The rumbling, killing power, Tao intent, and thousands of kilograms of force exploded at the same time and poured into the Empyrean sword. The Empyrean sword spirit was also awakened and increased the attacking power of the Empyrean sword. A sword light that could destroy the space slashed out and slashed at the 3 shocking sword lights that were descending from the sky. Boom, boom, boom. The saber light and the sword light clashed together, exploding with astonishing offensive power. After 2 breaths of time, the destructive sword light was shattered by Mo Fengyun's saber light. The remaining power of the saber light slashed towards Yi Qinfeng. Sword puppet. At the crucial moment, Yi Qinfeng summoned the sword puppet, which had exhausted all the energy of the sky crystal. He used it to block in front of him and blocked the remaining power of the 3 black sword lights. Yi Qinfeng, no one can save you today. This place is destined to be your grave. Mo Fengyun looked coldly at the indestructible sword puppet in front of Yi Qinfeng. His body flashed as he continued to charge at Yi Qinfeng, wanting to kill him in one go. Fiend God bloodline, fiend God body. Now, that Mo Fengyun had the sky demonic Tao soldier, his explosive attacks were beyond what Yi Qinfeng could withstand. Left with no choice, Yi Qinfeng burned his divine demon bloodline and transformed into the terrifying divine demon body. While his physical defense was greatly increased, his attacking power was also boosted by several folds. With the Emperor's celestial sword in his hand, he went up to meet Mo Fengyun. Boom! The Empyrean celestial sword and the sky demonic Tao soldier clashed. The space could not withstand the recoil from the 2 Tao soldiers and started to crack. Taking Mo Fengyun's all-out attack head-on, Yi Qinfeng's right arm was torn apart by the destructive force that surged out from the sky demonic Tao soldier. Fresh blood flowed profusely, and Mo Fengyun was not in a good state either. His arm felt numb, and the blood in his body started to churn. What great strength! What kind of bloodline is this? Why is his strength so great now? Sensing Yi Qinfeng's explosive physical strength, Mo Fengyun could not help but be moved. However, he did not slow down his attacks and continued to slash at Yi Qinfeng with the sky demonic Tao soldier in his hand. Emperor's celestial sword technique, Sword of the King. Mo Fengyun slashed with killing intent as Yi Qinfeng decisively executed the Emperor celestial sword technique to meet Mo Fengyun's attack. Close to 40 million kilograms of force, the power of massacre, and several Tao intents merged together. Under the amplification of the Emperor's celestial sword spirit, it gushed out and turned into a reddish-gold sword of the king. Once again, it clashed with Mo Fengyun's sky demonic Tao soldier. Chaos spiritual beast attack. The moment the 2 Tao steels clashed, Yi Qinfeng, who had deduced a trace of the restriction array, did not hesitate any longer. he decisively ordered the chaos spiritual beast to attack. Roar of chaos. A deafening roar erupted from Yi Qinfeng's chest as it twisted the void and attacked Mo Fengyun at close range. Mo Fengyun's body trembled as he uncontrollably retreated. Emperor Celestial Sword Technique. Emperor Celestial Sword. Making use of the moment when the chaos spiritual beast forced Mo Fengyun to retreat, Yi Qinfeng executed the second move of the Emperor Celestial Sword Technique. A celestial sword that was filled with the aura of the Emperor slashed out and tore through layers of space. A crack that was more than 10 meters long extended in midair as it slashed towards Mo Fengyun. Great Demon slaying Dragon Blade. Mo Fengyun's reaction was extremely fast. When the Emperor's celestial sword slashed towards him, he quickly stabilized his body and stepped into the void. A pitch-black sword light was like a demonic dragon baring its fangs and brandishing its claws. It whizzed past and clashed with the Emperor's celestial sword, shattering it forcefully. Just as Yi Qinfeng was enduring the recoil and continuing his attack, he suddenly realized that Mo Fengyun had turned into an afterimage and disappeared before his eyes. Not good. Sensing the sudden danger behind him, Yi Qinfeng's heart skipped a beat. He instinctively turned around and slashed with his sword. When the Emperor's celestial sword slashed through the void, it missed Mo Fengyun once again and did not hit him. At this moment, Mo Fengyun, who had relied on his speed to deceive Yi Qinfeng, executed his killer move. Instantly, waves after waves of sword light slashed towards Yi Qinfeng, forcing him to defend with all his might. Power of Qi and blood burn. Facing Mo Fengyun's tide-like attacks head-on, Yi Qinfeng's arms turned numb from the impact. His body retreated uncontrollably as large amounts of blood spurted out from his mouth. In the end, Yi Qinfeng was forcefully slammed into the ground by Mo Fengyun, creating a huge pit in the ground. All-directional Sky Devil Slash. After injuring Yi Qinfeng, Mo Fengyun's attacks did not slow down. The cross-shaped sword light that tore through the void fell like a meteor and slashed towards Yi Qinfeng, who was in the pit. He wanted to kill Yi Qinfeng in one fell swoop. Sword Puppet. At this critical moment, Yi Qinfeng summoned the sword puppet again to block in front of him and block Mo Fengyun's killer move. Exploding Demonic Saber. Blood-refining Demonic Saber. Great Demon slaying Dragon Blade. After the killer move was blocked by the sword puppet, Mo Fengyun continued to execute his terrifying Dao skills and slashed towards Yi Qinfeng. He did not give him a chance to catch his breath and attacked him with all his might. As Mo Fengyun's attacks were too ferocious, the entire ground was riddled with holes and filled with cracks. The surging storm fluctuated and the space became chaotic. This Mo Fengyun is indeed as terrifying as I imagined. Mo Qinshin is actually his doppelganger. This is really unexpected. When Mo Fengyun and Mo Qinshin merged, the experienced Yu Qinyuan guessed Mo Qinshin's identity. He could not help but admire Mo Fengyun's means and scheming. Yeah, it seems like we don't have to use our trump cards. Yi Qinfeng is dead meat. Yu Hong nodded and said as she looked at Yi Qinfeng, who was completely engulfed by Mo Fengyun's thunderous attacks and the destructive storm. Soul crystals fuse all of them. After being hit by Mo Fengyun's ferocious attacks, the sword puppet's energy was rapidly depleted. Yi Qinfeng, who was under great pressure, controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce rapidly while constantly fusing large amounts of high-level soul crystals into the sword puppet's body to resist Mo Fengyun's destructive attacks. Mo Fengyun held the Sky Fiend Dao weapon and attacked for 5 minutes without holding back. He was starting to feel a little exhausted. At this moment, Yi Qinfeng, who was under great pressure, seized this rare opportunity and released his strongest attack. He fused it into the Empyrean sword and flew out of the pit that was dozens of meters deep. He soared into the sky with the sword puppet. When the sword spirit puppet used its body to block Mo Fengyun's black saber light, Yi Qinfeng suddenly ignited his golden rock bloodline and flew to the edge of Longyuan Sacred City, with a God-Eater brain, had deduced the weakness of the restriction. He wanted to break the restriction and escape Long Yuan's sacred city. However, when Yi Qinfeng tried his best to break through, Crimson Blood Heavenly Bat, Yu Qinyuan, Yu Hong, Mo, Qianli, and the rest moved at the same time. They sealed off Yi Qinfeng's escape route and did not give him a chance to break through. When the sword puppet's energy was almost depleted and Yi Qinfeng was severely injured, he was besieged by many experts. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 650. Those who block me shall die. Yi Qinfeng, who was covered in blood, looked at Yu Qinyuan, Yu Hong, and the others who were blocking him. He roared and charged forward without slowing down. At Yin, Black Demon Lord. After witnessing Yi Qinfeng's terrifying attack head-on against Mo Fengyun, Yu Qinyuan and the other two knew that they were no longer his opponent. They quickly burned 2 devil talismans and summoned 2 level 3 beast emperors, Black Demon Lords, to stop Yi Qinfeng. At the same time, the level 8 heavenly beast, Crimson Blood Heavenly Bat, descended from the sky and cooperated with the 2 Black Demon Lords to launch a fatal attack on Yi Qinfeng. Golden Dragon Blood Lion, Chaos Divine Beast. At the crucial moment, Yi Qinfeng summoned the 2 heavenly beasts and ordered them to attack with all their might to break through the encirclement and leave this dangerous place. Yes, level 8 heavenly beasts. Yi Qinfeng's 2 contracted beasts have both leveled up. Feeling the explosive power of the Golden Dragon Blood Lion and the Chaos Divine Beast, Yu Qinyuan and the others were shocked. They were shocked that not only did Yi Qinfeng obtain a great opportunity in the Dragon Abyss to increase his strength, but his 2 contracted beasts had also obtained a great opportunity and leveled up. Roar! The Golden Dragon Blood Lion roared and unleashed its Golden Lion Bloodline and Dragon Bloodline at the same time. It pounced towards the Crimson Blood Heavenly Bat, dragging a bloody shadow behind it, and started to fight with it in mid-air. Although the Crimson Blood Heavenly Bat also possessed a mutated bloodline, compared to the Golden Dragon Bloodline who possessed 2 bloodlines, there was still a huge gap. Soon, its attack was suppressed by the Golden Dragon Bloodline. Its huge body was constantly being torn apart by the lion's sharp claws. The Chaos Divine Beast, Yi Qinfeng, and the sword puppet worked together to suppress the 2 Black Demon Lords' attack. They were all trying to get close to the weak point of the restrictive formation. Yi Qinfeng, this place is destined to be your grave. Stop your meaningless struggle. At this moment, Mo Fengyun, who was brimming with killing intent, rushed over. He continued to send out sword lights that could shake the heavens and earth, sealing the space. He viciously attacked Yi Qinfeng, determined to kill him. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Mo Fengyun's attack with the Sky Demon Dao weapon was too terrifying. Yi Qinfeng, who was covered in wounds, did not dare to face it head-on. He immediately summoned the Vermilion Bird Cauldron and spat a mouthful of essence blood into it, awakening the soul of the Vermilion Bird and increasing the attack power of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Boom, boom, boom. Under the full force of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, the black saber projections unleashed by Mo Fengyun were all kept at bay. Scarlet Lightning Bead, Death Lightning. Just as Mo Fengyun took a deep breath and continued to attack, ignoring the depletion of his soul power, the lid of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron suddenly opened, and the Scarlet Lightning Bead, hidden in the cauldron, shot toward him at an indiscernible speed. Rumble! The destructive power was extremely strong. The Death Thunder, which contained the will of death, poured out from the Scarlet Thunder Bead. It was like a huge devouring mouth, swallowing Mo Fengyun and madly destroying his body. Yi Qinfeng seized the moment when Mo Fengyun was engulfed by the Death Lightning and decisively turned around, launching a fierce attack at the approaching Black Demon Venerable. Merciless Heavenly Dao. 8 runes of Heavenly Dao shot out from Yi Qinfeng's body and turned into rolling Heavenly Dao energy, bombarding the Black Demon Venerable at close range. The terrifying heavenly Tao energy forcefully shattered the fist projection of the black demon Venerable and bombarded his body, forcibly causing cracks to appear on his huge body. 7 Swords of Judgment, Annihilation. Following that, Yi Chunfeng slashed out the Annihilation Sword Ray, destroying the space and slashing the black demon Venerable's body that was full of cracks, almost splitting his powerful body into 2 halves. Black Demon Venerable, self-destruct. When the Black Demon Lord was heavily injured by Yi Chunfeng's terrifying attack, Yu Hong made a prompt decision to detonate the Black Demon Lord. A wave of destructive power that could shock the heavens and earth erupted like a surging tide, sweeping towards Yi Chunfeng. Sword Puppet. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng ordered the sword puppet, which had little energy left, to block in front of him, forcibly blocking the self-destruct attack launched by the Black Demon Venerable. However, at this moment, another Black Demon Venerable, who was fighting fiercely with the Divine Beast of Chaos, approached Yi Chunfeng. It also self-destructed and launched another fatal attack on Yi Chunfeng. Black Tortoise Shell. Yi Chunfeng, who was in the center of the storm, immediately took out the black tortoise shell that was comparable to a quasi-Taoist treasure and used it to block in front of him, resisting with all his strength. Crack. The Black Demon Venerable was comparable to a 3rd-level Beast Emperor expert. The attack, generated by its self-destruction, was so terrifying that it forcibly cracked the black tortoise shell. A large amount of destructive power passed through the cracks of the shell and attacked Yi Chunfeng's body, aggravating his injuries. Die! Yi Chunfeng blocked the self-destruct attack of the 2 Black Demon Venerables with the sword puppet and the black tortoise shell's defense. Mo Fengyun tore apart the Death Thunder and slashed at Yi Chunfeng more than 10 times. The attacks gathered into layers of saber mountains and crashed toward Yi Chunfeng with astonishing destructive power. Boom! The black tortoise shell was shattered without any suspense when it was hit by Mo Fengyun's saber mountains. The terrifying remaining power ruthlessly slashed onto Yi Chunfeng's body and sent him flying. The godly devil body that was comparable to a quasi-Taoist treasure was covered with crisscrossing saber wounds, and a large amount of blood spurted out. Wrath of Divine Punishment. Yi Chunfeng controlled the primal chaos divine, to suppress the injuries on his body. The 3 heaven spirits flew out of his body and turned into a tricolor destructive light ball, bombarding Yu Chunyuan and company who were obstructing him. The heavenly fire and heavenly water had leveled up one after another. The power of the wrath of divine punishment was even more terrifying. When it bombarded the Tao skills that Yu Chunyuan and company had executed, the destructive power that was released shattered their attacks and forced them to retreat. Jinxing Dragon Blood Lion, Chaos Divine Beast, don't continue fighting. Use all your strength to break through. Yi Chunfeng kept the exhausted sword puppet and the 2 Tao treasures back into his body. He seized the opportunity when Yu Chunyuan and company were forced to retreat and continue to break through. He appeared at the weak point of the restriction that the God Devourer brain had deduced and stabbed at it with the Emperor's Sky Sword. At the same time, the Jinxing Dragon Blood Lion and Chaos Divine Beast also launched their strongest attacks and bombarded the weak point of the restriction, trying to break it. Crack! After receiving the all-out attacks from the Emperor's Sky Sword and the 2 heavenly beasts, the weak point of the restriction was like shattered glass. A large number of cracks appeared, which made Mo Fengyun and company change their expressions. If they couldn't kill Yi Chunfeng even after setting up the Heaven and Earth net, it would be almost impossible for them to kill Yi Chunfeng in the future. Furthermore, they would definitely become the laughingstock of the Western continent. Sword of Dark Tao. Mo Fengyun flashed and got close to Yi Chunfeng. His entire body fused with the Sky Demonic Tao Soldier and fused with 60 Dark Tao patterns. He slashed at Yi Chunfeng as one with the weapon. Emperor Sky Sword Spirit Combust. When facing Mo Fengyun's sure kill attack, Yi Chunfeng, who was severely injured, had no choice but to combust the Emperor Sky Sword Spirit. He activated the Emperor Sky Sword's attacking power to the greatest extent and faced the attack head-on. With the help of the Emperor's Sky Sword Spirit's attacking power, Yi Qianfeng forcefully blocked Mo Fengyun's sure-kill attack. However, his severely injured body was also severely injured by the instantaneous explosion of the recoil. He crashed heavily on the spatial restriction that was filled with cracks. Yi Qianfeng, go to hell and repent to Zhongtian. When Yu Qinyuan saw Yi Qianfeng, who was severely injured and covered in blood, crashing onto the restriction wall, he roared. A pearl that was the size of a longan appeared in his hand and shot at Yi Qianfeng. The black pearl that Yu Qinyuan took out was his greatest trump card. It was the destruction demonic pearl that the Yu family had spent a lot of effort to refine. Every demonic pearl took more than 30 years to refine. It was extremely precious and terrifying. Not good. When Yi Qianfeng felt the destructive power released by the destruction demonic pearl, he decisively summoned the two heavenly beasts back in the universe realm. He then summoned the sword puppet and hugged it in front of him. Destruction demonic pearl, explode. When the destruction demonic pearl hit the sword puppet, it exploded. The terrifying destructive power collapsed the void and landed heavily on the sword puppet's body. Yi Qianfeng felt an unimaginable power pass through the sword puppet and hit his body. It made him feel like he was hit by a mountain. He crashed heavily on the restriction that was filled with cracks behind him. Bang! The sturdy restriction was smashed through by Yi Qianfeng's uncontrollable body. Yi Qianfeng, who was severely injured and had his body broken, spat out a large amount of blood. He crashed through the broken spatial barrier and landed outside the Longyuan sacred city. He was only half dead. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You'll be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 651. Yes, he's not dead. Yu Qinyuan was well aware of the destructive power of the Orb of Annihilation. Even a level 4 Beast Emperor would not be able to survive a direct attack from the Orb of Annihilation. However, Yi Qianfeng, who was heavily injured, was still alive. This made Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong extremely shocked. Swish! Just as Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong were shocked by Yi Qianfeng's tenacious vitality, an ear-piercing sound broke through the air. Mo Fengyan drew an afterimage in midair and appeared above Yi Qianfeng's head at an extremely fast speed. He waved the Sky Demon Dao Soldier and launched a fatal attack at Yi Qianfeng. Every time Mo Fengyan slashed out a blade light, it would tear the void apart and leave a ghastly scar. The blade light was filled with destructive power and posed a fatal threat to Yi Qianfeng. Sword Spirit of the Emperor's Sky burn. Facing the destructive blade light, Yi Qianfeng, who was at the tip of the blade light, spat out a large amount of blood essence at all costs. He infused it into the Emperor's Sky Sword and burned the Sword Spirit of the Emperor's Sky Sword, maximizing the attacking power of the Emperor's Sky Sword. 7 Swords of Judgment, Destruction. Holding the Emperor's Sky Sword with the Sword Spirit burning, Yi Qianfeng did not care about his injuries. He burned his blood essence and slashed out the Sword of Destruction. It collapsed the space and blasted towards a blade light that Mo Fengyun slashed out continuously. Boom! 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 When the two terrifying attacks clashed, an earth-shattering explosion could be heard in the void. An extremely terrifying energy storm instantly spread out in a radius of a few miles. The entire space was in chaos and filled with cracks. Wind riding technique. Yi Qianfeng burned the Detion Sword Spirit and all the blood in his body to block Mo Fengyun's sure-kill attack. Yi Qianfeng endured the destructive power and burned his golden rock bloodline, flying out of Longyuan Sacred City at an extremely fast speed. Jinqing Dragon Blood Lion, bring me away. When Yi Qianfeng, who was covered in blood and barely alive, rushed out of the destructive storm, he immediately summoned the Jinqing Dragon Blood Lion and escaped with all his might. Yes, you are still alive. Through the destructive storm, Mo Fengyun saw Yi Qianfeng, whose life was hanging by a thread, riding the golden clear dragon blood lion and fleeing. He could not help but feel somewhat shocked. He was shocked that Yi Chunfeng was still alive under such circumstances. Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat, come here. After the intense battle, Mo Fengyan had also consumed a lot of energy. He quickly summoned the Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat and commanded it to chase after Yi Chunfeng. Black Flood Dragon. Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong were also clear about the consequences of letting Yi Chunfeng escape. They had no choice but to use the Black Serpent Dragon to chase after him. They had to nip the threat in the bud. Master, are you all right? Jin Qing Dragon Blood Lion sensed that Yi Chunfeng's injuries were very serious. His qi and blood were severely depleted, and his breathing was weak. Don't worry, I won't die yet. Yi Chunfeng lay weakly on the thick fur of the golden clear dragon blood lion. He swallowed a lump of life spirit into his stomach and rapidly healed his injuries. However, Yi Chunfeng's injuries were too serious. Even if he swallowed a life spirit that could bring the dead back to life, he couldn't heal his injuries in a short time. Although the golden clear dragon blood lion was powerful, its flying speed wasn't its forte. Gradually, the Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat and the two black serpents closed the distance between them. If they continued to escape, it would only be a matter of time before they caught up. Yi Chunfeng, I didn't expect your life to be so tough. I still couldn't kill you under such circumstances. However, in the Western continent, I am the heavens. In my territory, you won't be able to survive even if you are in the heavens or the earth. Mo Fengyan stood on the Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who was escaping at top speed. He spoke in a cruel and domineering manner, striking a blow to Yi Chunfeng's heart. Mo Fengyan, I didn't expect that someone as arrogant as you would actually use words to attack me. Seems like you are afraid. Are you afraid that I will come after you in the future after I escape this calamity? Although Yi Chunfeng was facing a tough test of life and death, he didn't panic at all. Instead, he became calmer and calmer as he countered. Haha, I'm afraid. Mo Fengyan laughed and said with a murderous glint in his eyes, I, Mo Fengyan, have been through all kinds of storms in my life. You are not worthy of making me afraid. Mo Fengyan, when you say that, you'd better check your heart and see if you're lying to yourself. Yi Chunfeng snorted and ignored him. He quickly refined the life spirit and healed his injuries. Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat, burn your blood qi and increase your speed. Yi Chunfeng's words were like a thorn that pierced into Mo Fengyan's heart. It made him furious, but he had to admit that he did feel threatened by Yi Chunfeng. A huge threat. If he couldn't kill Yi Chunfeng this time, once he grew stronger, what awaited him and the West Devil sect would be destruction. Chaos Divine Beast, attack with all your might. The Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat burned its blood qi and increased its speed. As the distance between them continued to shrink, Yi Chunfeng summoned the Chaos Divine Beast from the Universe Mirror and ordered it to attack the Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat and Mo Fengyan, not giving them a chance to get closer. Chaos Roar. A powerful sound wave was released from the Chaos Divine Beast's bloody mouth. It was like a surging wave that slammed into the space and bombarded the Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat and the two black Jiao Dragons. Under the full attack of the Chaos Divine Beast, the Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat and the black Jiao Dragon's speed was greatly affected. The distance between them was slowly widening. However, Yi Chunfeng knew that the advantage was only temporary. Once the Chaos Divine Beast was exhausted and couldn't continuously release the Chaos Roar, they would be caught up sooner or later. How can I get rid of them? Yi Chunfeng quickly healed his wounds while thinking of a solution. As he pondered, Yi Chunfeng thought of the West Continent's most dangerous place, the Heaven Blue region. Maybe I can escape to the Heaven Blue region and use the dangerous terrain to get rid of Mo Fengyan and the others. Yi Chunfeng muttered to himself. He took out a detailed map of the West Continent that he had obtained from killing Mo Fengyan. He realized that the most dangerous place in the West Continent, the Heaven Blue region, was not far from his current location. Let's go to the Heaven Blue region then. Although the Heaven Blue region was extremely dangerous and was known as the West Continent's Forbidden Zone, Yi Chunfeng couldn't get rid of Mo Fengyan and the others. He could only take the risk. After all, Yi Chunfeng had the God Eater Brain and the Chaos Divine Wood. If he entered the Heaven Blue region, he would have a chance of survival. Moreover, Yi Chunfeng had obtained a map of the Heaven Blue region from Mo Fengyun when he killed him. Dragon Blood Lion, go to this place. Yi Chunfeng imprinted the map of the Heaven Blue region into the Dragon Blood Lion's mind and ordered it to fly to the Heaven Blue region as fast as possible. This direction. Could he be thinking of escaping to the Heaven Blue region? As the most powerful person in the West Continent, Mo Fengyun knew the West Continent very well. After chasing for more than 4 hours with the Scarlet Bloodbat, he noticed something and frowned. Yi Chunfeng, I am impressed by your courage and courage. However, do you think I will give you the chance to escape to the Heaven Blue region? Other than wanting to kill Yi Chunfeng to prevent future troubles, Mo Fengyun also wanted to obtain the treasures on him. He had a feeling that Yi Chunfeng was the greatest opportunity in his life, and he couldn't let it go. Scarlet Bloodbat, burn all your essence blood and increase your speed. Mo Fengyun ordered the Scarlet Bloodbat. Although burning all its essence blood would cause great damage to its body and affect its transformation in the future, the Scarlet Bloodbat couldn't disobey Mo Fengyun's order. It burned all its essence blood and increased its speed to the peak. Break! Standing on the Crimson Blood Heavenly Bat, Mo Fengyun faced the incoming tornadoes with the Sky Demon Dao weapon in his hand. He continuously cut through the roars of the Chaos Divine Beasts and slowly closed the distance between him and Yi Chunfeng. When they were close to the Heaven Blue region, Yi Chunfeng was caught by Mo Fengyun, who had yet to recover from his injuries. Mobile reading site. Book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 652. Yi Chunfeng, let's see where you can escape to. Mo Fengyun roared as his entire body flew up and tore through the sky. With a speed that was several times faster than light, he leaped above Yi Chunfeng's head. 10-directional Sky Demon slash. Mo Fengyun slashed down heavily with the Sky Demon Dao weapon. The terrifying cross-shaped sword tore through the layers of air. The fatal attack made Yi Chunfeng's hair stand on end. Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Yi Chunfeng's pupils contracted as he quickly summoned the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. He spat a few mouthfuls of blood essence into the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, awakening the Vermilion Bird soul. He raised the Vermilion Bird Cauldron's attacking power to the greatest extent and smashed it with all his might. Boom! When the 10-directional Sky Demon hit the Vermilion Bird Cauldron, it exploded with a shocking demonic aura. It destroyed the Vermilion Bird Fire and shook the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Boundless destructive power fluctuated on the surface of the Vermilion Bird Cauldron. Emperor Celestial Sword Technique. Emperor Celestial Sword. The moment the Vermilion Bird Cauldron blocked the 10-directional Sky Demon slash, Yi Chunfeng ignored his injuries and leaped up from the Jinqing Dragon Bloodline. He infused the Emperor Celestial Sword with his Emperor Celestial Sword and slashed at Mo Fengyun, tried to push him back. Facing the attack of the Emperor Celestial Sword, Mo Fengyun didn't use his full strength to face it. His body flashed as he created a strange afterimage and dodged the attack. He continued to slash out black sword lights, sealing the space in front of Yi Chunfeng and the Jinqing Dragon Bloodline. He blocked them and didn't give them a chance to escape into the Azure Heaven region. Dragon Bloodlion, Hundun, let's rush over. Seeing Mo Fengyun blocking the way, Yi Chunfeng didn't reduce his speed. He controlled the Vermilion Bird Cauldron to smash through the sword lights and rode on the Jinqing Dragon Bloodlion, rushing over without slowing down. Divine Demon Bloodline Ignition. Divine Demon Body. Yi Chunfeng's body erupted with a powerful vital energy. In order to break out of the encirclement, Yi Chunfeng disregarded his injuries and instantly transformed into his strongest godly demon body. He condensed 7 killing halos and slashed out with the Emperor Celestial Sword. 7 Swords of Judgment, Annihilation. The will of the great Tao and the power of close to 40 million kilograms of force surged into the Empyrean celestial sword, activating the 3,680 offensive array patterns on the Empyrean celestial sword. They interweaved to form a destructive sword light that could shatter space and tear apart the firmament, slashing towards Mo Fengyun. Roar of chaos, the power of the dragon lion. The divine beasts of chaos and Jinxing dragon blood lion also unleashed their strongest attacks at the same time. They blended together and attacked Mo Fengyun like a tidal wave, trying to force him to retreat. Facing Yi Chunfeng and the two heavenly beasts' thunderous attack, Mo Fengyun, who was at the peak of the storm, did not dodge. He quickly ignited the power of his demon heart and infused it into the heavenly fiend Dao weapon to meet the attack with all his might. The heavenly fiend Dao weapon slashed ferociously. The Dao of darkness and Dao of death gushed out and turned into a black demon saber that was more than 30 meters long. It carried a shocking destructive power and slashed through Yi Chunfeng. The two heavenly beasts' strongest attacks did not diminish in power and continued to slash towards Yi Chunfeng. At the critical moment, Yi Chunfeng summoned the sword puppet that had completely depleted its energy. He infused close to 40 million kilograms of force into the puppet and threw it out with all his might, colliding with the black demon saber. Boom! A deafening explosion sounded. The indestructible sword puppet shattered the black demon saber and blocked Mo Fengyun's sure kill attack. In the next moment, the vermilion bird cauldron and the scarlet thunder pearl flew out of Yi Chunfeng's body and collided with Mo Fengyun one after another. Thunder of death. When the scarlet thunder pearl approached Mo Fengyun, it released endless thunder of death that formed a huge net and enveloped Mo Fengyun. When Mo Fengyun held the heavenly fiend Dao weapon and slashed through the thunder of death, the vermilion bird cauldron that was resonating with the cry of a vermilion bird slammed into the heavenly fiend Dao weapon. The powerful impact forcefully interrupted Mo Fengyun's continuous attack. Seizing this fleeting opportunity, Yi Chunfeng decisively kept the sword puppet and the two heavenly beasts into the Qinkuan realm. Then, he ignited the golden rock bloodline and raised his speed to the peak. He broke through Mo Fengyun's obstruction and rushed towards the mysterious vast heaven domain that was shrouded in a thick black fog. Where do you think you're going? Yi Chunfeng broke through the defensive line. Mo Fengyun quickly turned around and was about to chase after Yi Chunfeng with the heavenly fiend Dao weapon in his hand. However, when he turned around, the vermilion bird cauldron and the scarlet thunder pearl continued to attack him under the control of Yi Chunfeng, forcibly slowing him down. When Mo Fengyun relied on his absolute strength to tear apart the double attack of the vermilion bird cauldron and the scarlet thunder pearl, Yi Chunfeng, who had ignited the golden rock bloodline, appeared at the edge of the vast heaven domain with amazing speed. Vermilion bird cauldron, scarlet thunder pearl, come back. Appearing outside the vast heaven domain, Yi Chunfeng summoned the two great Dao treasures back with a single thought. Then, before Mo Fengyun could stop him, he rushed into the vast heaven domain shrouded in black fog. Seeing Yi Chunfeng break through the encirclement and rush into the vast heaven domain, Mo Fengyun, who appeared at the edge of the vast heaven domain, looked extremely gloomy. Although he had the map of the vast heaven domain, he knew very well how terrifying the vast heaven domain was. The slightest discomfort could cause one to be trapped and killed inside. Just as Mo Fengyun was hesitating whether to take the risk of rushing into the vast heaven domain and killing Yi Chunfeng, the two elders of the Yu family arrived on the Black Flood Dragon. Sect Master Mo, what is this place? Seeing the vast heaven domain shrouded in black fog, Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong sensed a strong sense of danger. They looked at the gloomy Mo Fengyun and asked, "This is the most dangerous place in the Western continent, the vast heaven domain," Mo Fengyun said in a low voice. The vast heaven domain that is known as the Forbidden Zone of Life. Yu Qinyuan and Yu Hong raised their eyebrows and revealed a trace of solemnity. Obviously, they had heard of the vast heaven domain and knew how dangerous it was. Not to mention them. Even high-level combat beast emperors would find it difficult to leave alive after entering. Sect Master Mo, based on your understanding of the vast heaven domain, do you think Yi Chunfeng has a chance of surviving inside? Although Yu Qinyuan coveted Yi Chunfeng's treasures, he cared more about Yi Chunfeng's life and death. So he asked, normally speaking, with Yi Chunfeng's strength as a Class 5 Defiant Beast King, there's no chance of survival after entering the vast heaven domain. However, Yi Chunfeng's life is too tough. The vast heaven domain might not be able to take his life. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng, who created life traces, Mo Fengyan had a feeling that the vast heaven domain might not be able to trap Yi Chunfeng to death. That Yi Chunfeng is too monstrous. If he doesn't die, he will definitely become a huge threat to us. Yu Qinyuan said with a solemn expression. Never in his wildest dreams would he have thought that not only did he not obtain any great opportunities in the Western continent, but he also lost Yu Zhongtian, and the Yu family had provoked an extremely terrifying hidden danger. This Yi Chunfeng must be eliminated. Thinking of Yi Chunfeng's threat and his rapid growth, Mo Fengyan steeled his heart and decided to take the risk and enter the vast heaven domain to hunt down Yi Chunfeng. Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat, hold on to this telepathic rope and wait for me outside the vast heaven domain. Mo Fengyan took out the telepathic rope that was refined from more than 100 heavenly beast tendons. He gave one end to the Scarlet Blood Heavenly Bat and tied the other end to his waist. With a flash, he rushed into the black fog that devoured light. Relying on the map of the vast heaven domain that he grasped, he risked his life to hunt down Yi Chunfeng. Mobile reading website, book address. For your convenience, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.